Welcome to a space of absolute tranquility. Before we begin our journey into the vast velvety expanse of the cosmos, take a moment to settle into the sanctuary of your own presence. Allow your body to sink deeply into the surface beneath you, feeling the gentle pull of gravity not as a weight, but as a warm, reassuring embrace. It is the same force that holds the planets in their orbits, now cradling you in safety and stillness. Close your eyes and let the darkness behind your eyelids become a soft, comforting curtain, shutting out the demands of the day. There is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to achieve. There is only this moment, this breath, and the infinite theatre of the imagination waiting to unfold. Breathe in slowly, filling your lungs with the cool, calm air of the night, and as you exhale, release the tension from your shoulders, your jaw, and the space between your eyebrows. Imagine that with every breath out, you're becoming lighter, your consciousness detaching gently from the physical world, ready to float upward. Picture the ceiling above you dissolving into a mist, revealing a sky of endless deep obsidian, scattered with the diamond dust of distant worlds. We're about to drift through the universe, surfing on waves of starlight and silence. Let your mind become as vast and open as the space we're about to explore. You're a traveller of the dreamscape now, weightless and free. Let the sound of my voice be your tether as we drift away from the earth, rising higher and higher, until the world below is nothing but a silent blue marble and you are enveloped by the peaceful ancient mystery of the cosmos. As we drift into this great expanse, the first thing you notice is the profound, absolute silence. In our daily lives, we're surrounded by a constant symphony of vibration, the hum of electricity, the rustle of wind, the distant murmur of voices. But here, in the vacuum of space, there is no air to carry the wave of a sound. Imagine a silence so deep, so pure, that it feels like a soft velvet blanket wrapping around your mind. If two massive asteroids were to collide right before your eyes, creating a cataclysm of dust and rock, you would hear absolutely nothing. It is a realm of perfect peace. This silence is not empty. It is heavy with presence. It is the silence of a library that has stood for 1 billion years, or the quiet of a deep ocean trench. It allows you to listen to the rhythm of your own existence, your own heartbeat, echoing in the temple of your body. In this void, sound does not travel, which means that the chaos of the universe unfolds in a majestic, silent ballet. Picture yourself floating in this hushed cathedral, where the only sensation is the feeling of infinite space stretching out in every direction, a quietude that soothes the deepest parts of your soul, washing away the noise of the world you left behind. Drifting through this silent sea, we turn our gaze toward the warm, glowing heart of our own celestial neighbourhood. Dominated by a single magnificent star, our solar system is a testament to the power of unity and concentration. Visualize the sun, a colossal sphere of churning golden plasma, radiating a light that nurtures all life as we know it. It is difficult to comprehend its true scale, but imagine for a moment that the entire solar system, every planet, every moon, every asteroid and every comet were placed on a cosmic scale. The sun alone would account for almost all of that mass. In fact, it holds within it 99.8% of the total mass of our solar system. Everything else, from the gas giants of Jupiter and Saturn to the Earth you rest upon, is merely the dusty leftovers, the 0.2% drifting in its wake. Imagine this massive golden anchor holding everything together with its invisible hands of gravity. It is a comforting thought that such a powerful singular force exists to keep the dance of the planets in perfect order, a guardian of light ensuring that nothing wanders too far into the dark. From the expansive majesty of our sun, our minds float toward a phenomenon that creates the opposite sensation, something incredibly small, yet impossibly heavy. We drift toward the remnants of ancient stars that have collapsed in on themselves, known as neutron stars. These are the dense cores left behind after a supernova, compressed by forces beyond our imagining. Picture a city the size of Manhattan or London. Now, imagine compressing a star twice the mass of our Sun into that city-sized space. The density is so extreme that it defies logic. If you were to travel to this star and carefully scoop up a single teaspoon of its material, an amount no larger than a sugar cube you might drop into your evening tea, that tiny cube would weigh as much as a mountain. Imagine holding a teaspoon that weighs 1 billion tons. It is a concept that grounds us, reminding us that reality is dense with mystery. Visualizing this heaviness can be deeply relaxing, a sensation of grounding, as if the universe is placing a weighted blanket over your consciousness, anchoring you in deep, restorative slumber. Leaving the heavy, silent sentinels of the neutron stars, we catch a cosmic current that carries us to the outer reaches of our own solar system, to the ice giants, Neptune and Uranus. Here, the atmosphere is thick, swirling with azure and cobalt clouds, beautiful and cold. But deep within these blue worlds, a miraculous weather phenomenon is occurring. High in their atmospheres, the pressure is so intense that it crushes carbon atoms together, squeezing them until they crystallize. Imagine floating in the upper atmosphere of Neptune, watching as the sky begins to sparkle. It is not raining water here, it is raining diamonds. Picture thousands of glittering gems creating a shimmering curtain as they fall slowly toward the planet's liquid core. It is a rain of riches, a cascade of jewels tumbling through the blue fog, untouched by human hands, existing solely for the beauty of the universe itself. The gentle tinkling of these falling stones, were there air to hear them, would sound like the most delicate wind chimes. Let this image of a diamond storm lull you, the sparkling lights mesmerizing your mind, turning your thoughts into drifting, glittering gems. We pull back now, zooming out from the diamond storms of the ice giants, expanding our view until we see the grand structure of our galactic home, the Milky Way. It is a spiraling city of stars, a pinwheel of light turning slowly in the void. To understand the scale of this home, we must look to the speed of light, the fastest thing in the universe. Light can circle the Earth 7 times in a single second. Yet, if you were to board a vessel travelling at this impossible speed and start at one edge of our galaxy, aiming for the other side, the journey would not take minutes, days, or even years. It would take 100,000 years to cross the Milky Way. 100,000 years of continuous travel at the speed of light. Visualize this immense disk, a river of stars flowing through the dark. We are but a tiny speck in one of its spiral arms, nestled safely in the suburbs of a metropolis so vast that its boundaries are beyond our comprehension. This vastness is not frightening, it is liberating. It means there is endless space for you to dream, endless room for your spirit to wander without ever reaching a wall. Let us zoom back in now, diving into the core of a star, returning to the concept of light itself. When you feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, you are feeling a traveller that has arrived after a long, arduous journey. We often think of sunlight as instant, taking only 8 minutes to travel from the surface of the sun to the earth. But the birth of that light is a different story. Deep inside the sun's core, photons are created. Because the core is so crowded and dense, a single particle of light bounces around wildly, colliding with others, trapped in a chaotic dance. It is like trying to navigate through a crowded room where you can only move an inch before bumping into someone else. It can take this tiny spark of light 170,000 years just to fight its way from the centre of the sun to the surface. 170,000 years of struggle just to break free. And once it does, it flies across the void of space to reach you in moments, ending its ancient journey as a gentle warmth on your face. Think of this when you see the sun. You're being touched by light that was born before human history began, a prehistoric kiss of energy. As we consider the light of our star, we realize it is just one among many. If you have ever stood on a beach at night, feeling the cool sand beneath your bare feet, You know the feeling of the infinite grains slipping through your fingers. Imagine scooping up a handful of sand, countless tiny grains. Now, imagine every beach on Earth, the white sands of the Caribbean, the black volcanic shores of Iceland, the vast dunes of the Sahara. Combine every single grain of sand from every single beach on our entire planet. It is a number too large to speak. And yet, astronomers tell us that there are more stars in the universe than there are grains of sand on all the beaches of Earth. For every grain you can imagine, there is a burning sun somewhere in the deep dark, perhaps warming its own planets, perhaps shining on a diamond rain. This comparison invites us to let go of our small worries. In a universe so abundant, so teeming with potential and energy, our anxieties are smaller than a single atom. We are part of a grand, glittering tapestry that stretches into infinity. Drifting closer to home again, we find our constant companion, the moon. It hangs in the sky, a pale guardian watching over our sleep. It seems so steady, so permanent. But the universe is a place of constant slow motion. The moon is actually performing a very long, very slow goodbye. Each year it drifts approximately 3.8 centimeters away from Earth. It is roughly the same speed at which your fingernails grow. It is a motion so subtle it cannot be seen, only felt over the eons. The tides of our oceans, pulling and pushing, are slowly transferring energy, giving the moon a gentle nudge outward. Visualize this slow drift, a celestial dance partner slowly extending their arm, widening the circle. It is a reminder that even in nature, relationships change and evolve. Nothing is stagnant. This slow separation is not sad. It is simply the breathing of the solar system, a rhythmic expansion that has been happening for billions of years and will continue for billions more, a slow-motion waltz played out in the silence of gravity. Moving inward from the moon, we float toward our sister planet, Venus. Shrouded in thick yellowish clouds, it is a world of mystery. But if you were to stand on the surface of Venus, watching the sky, you would witness something that feels like a dream, something that defies all our instincts. On Earth, we are anchored by the sunrise in the east and the sunset in the west. It is the rhythm of our lives. But Venus is a rebel. It spins in the opposite direction to most other planets. There, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and it spins so slowly that a single day on Venus lasts longer than its entire year. Imagine a day that stretches on forever, a sun that creeps up from the wrong horizon, moving with agonizing slowness across a hazy sky. It is a world where time behaves differently, where the rules we know are flipped upside down. Visualize this backward spin, a slow counterclockwise pirouette in the dark, reminding us that there is no single right way to exist in this universe. There are infinite variations, infinite possibilities, all coexisting in the dark. Finally, we turn our gaze inward, to the very substance of your own being. You're lying in bed, breathing, feeling the weight of your body. But what is that body made of? The atoms that form the calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon in your muscles, they did not come from the earth. They were cooked in the fiery hearts of ancient massive stars. When the universe began, there was only simple gas. It took the life and death of giant stars exploding in spectacular supernovas to fuse the heavy elements that make life possible. These explosions scattered dust across the galaxy, dust that eventually clumped together to form the Earth, and eventually, you. You're literally made of stardust. The same energy that burns in the night sky flows through your veins. You're not just in the universe, you are the universe, experiencing itself as human for a little while. Let this thought wrap around you like a warm embrace. You belong here. You're as ancient as the stars, as mysterious as the dark matter, composed of the wreckage of long-dead suns, reassembled into something that can dream and sleep and drift. Floating on this realization that you're woven from the very fabric of the cosmos, let your imagination drift outward again, expanding beyond the boundaries of your body, beyond the earth, and even beyond the stars you can see with your naked eye. Imagine for a moment that you're holding a single tiny grain of sand at arm's length against the night sky. In that tiny patch of darkness covered by the grain of sand, there appears to be nothing but empty black void. But if we were to look through the lens of the most powerful telescope humanity has ever built, staring deep into that pinprick of darkness for days on end, a miraculous tapestry would emerge. In that tiny speck of sky alone, there are thousands upon thousands of galaxies. Each one of these galaxies is a swirling island of light, containing billions of suns of its own, spiral arms of blue and gold and nebulae of pink and violet. It is a dizzying, beautiful thought that the darkness is not dark at all. It is simply full of light that has travelled so far it has become a whisper. Visualize these galaxies spinning slowly in the deep ocean of space, like bioluminescent jellyfish drifting in a midnight sea. Some are spirals like our own, flat discs of grace. Others are elliptical, glowing orbs of ancient stars. There are so many that if you were to count one galaxy every second, it would take you years just to count the ones in that single grain of sand. This abundance is a comfort, a reminder that the universe is not a lonely place, but a crowded, glittering room filled with more potential and beauty than our minds can ever fully contain, a limitless gallery of art painted with light and gravity. Drifting through this galactic gallery, our senses might expect the cold, sterile scent of nothingness, a vacuum devoid of character. Yet, the universe is full of surprises that engage even the sense of smell in our dreamscape. Deep in the centre of our galaxy, in a vast cloud of gas and dust known as Sagittarius B2, a strange chemical reaction is taking place on a massive scale. If you could float through this nebula, protected and safe, and take a deep breath of the cosmic wind, you would encounter a scent that is incredibly familiar and delightfully unexpected. Astronomers have analysed the light from this cloud and discovered it is filled with a molecule called ethyl formate. This is the very same chemical that gives raspberries their distinct sweet flavour and also carries the scent of rum. Imagine a cloud spanning light years, billions of miles of pink and purple gas, swirling in the dark, smelling of summer berries and sweet dark rum. It is a whimsical reality, a cosmic confection floating in the void. Let your mind conjure this sensory experience, the deep, cool darkness of space infused with the warm, inviting aroma of a summer garden. It suggests that the universe is not just a machine of physics and math, but a place of chemistry and creation that echoes the simple pleasures of our lives. You're floating through a mist of raspberry dreams, the scent lulling you deeper into a state of relaxation, sweetening the heavy velvet silence of the night. From this sweet-scented nebula, we let the cosmic currents carry us back toward our own solar neighbourhood, approaching the giant of our system, Jupiter. As we draw closer, the massive planet fills your vision, a colossal canvas of painted clouds. It is a world of stripes and bands, cream, ochre, rust and brown, churning and sliding past one another in an eternal fluid dance. Dominating this landscape is the Great Red Spot, a storm so vast that 3 Earths could fit comfortably inside it. It looks like a giant, unblinking crimson eye watching over the solar system. But do not fear its power. Instead, see it as a symbol of endurance. This storm has been raging for at least 300 years, perhaps much longer. It is a permanent feature in a changing world, a stable vortex of energy. Imagine floating high above it, watching the slow, hypnotic rotation of the red clouds. It spins counterclockwise, a slow-motion whirlpool of gas. The violence of the wind is lost in the distance, leaving only the majesty of the motion. It is like watching a fire in a hearth or waves crashing on a shore, a display of raw natural power that has a calming, mesmerizing effect. It reminds us that some things in the universe endure, weathering the centuries with a slow, steady momentum. Let the rotation of the Great Red Spot become a visual mantra, its circular motion guiding your breathing, round and round, smooth and continuous. Leaving the giant, we drift inward to a smaller, dustier world, Mars. We land softly on the rust-coloured dunes of the red planet. The landscape is silent and still, a desert of iron oxide stretching to the horizon. But the sky here holds a beautiful secret, a reversal of what we know on Earth. On our home planet, the day ends with a sunset of warm oranges, reds and pinks. But on Mars, due to the fine dust suspended in the thin atmosphere, the scattering of light creates a different spectacle. As the sun, smaller and more distant than we're used to, begins to dip below the horizon, the sky does not turn red, it turns blue. Visualize standing on this alien ridge, feeling the absolute stillness of a world without cities or forests. As the sun lowers, a cool, soothing halo of blue light surrounds it. The twilight on Mars is a deep slate blue fading into the black of space. It is a cool, calming sunset, a visual lullaby. The red dust of the ground contrasts with the sapphire glow of the horizon, creating a scene of alien beauty that feels strangely peaceful. It is a reminder that beauty exists everywhere, often in forms we least expect. Watch that blue sun set in your mind's eye, and as the light fades, feel the cool shadow of the Martian night sweep over you, bringing with it a heavy, restful sleep. As the darkness of Mars envelops us, we turn our attention from the planetary scale to the microscopic, diving deep into the very building blocks of the universe. We spoke of being made of stardust, but let us look closer at the atoms that comprise that dust. Picture an atom, perhaps a carbon atom in your own hand. We often imagine it as a solid little ball, but it is actually a tiny solar system of its own, with a nucleus in the centre and electrons buzzing around it. The shocking truth, however, is the vastness of the space between them. If the nucleus of an atom were the size of a marble sitting on the centre line of a football stadium, the electrons would be tiny specks buzzing in the higher seats of the stands. Everything in between, the field, the lower seats, the air, is empty space. In fact, atoms are 99.9999% empty space. This means that everything you touch, everything you see, and even your own body, is mostly a mirage of energy fields giving the illusion of solidity. If you removed all the empty space from the atoms of every human being on Earth, the entire population, all 8 billion of us, would fit inside a volume the size of a single sugar cube. It is a humbling and lightening thought. You're not a heavy solid object. You're a cloud of energy, a ghost of vibration held together by invisible forces. Feel yourself becoming lighter with this knowledge, less dense, as if you could float through walls, as if gravity has no claim on a being made mostly of emptiness and light. Drifting through this emptiness, we encounter a different kind of wanderer in the dark, a rogue planet. These are worlds that have been untethered from their stars, flung out of their solar systems by gravitational wrestling matches billions of years ago. They float through the interstellar void alone, without a sun to rise or set. This might sound lonely, but picture it as the ultimate solitude, a cozy private room drifting through the galaxy. Without a nearby star to blast it with radiation or solar winds, a rogue planet exists in a state of perfect preservation and quiet. It is a world of eternal night. Imagine a planet where the stars above never fade, where the Milky Way is always draped across the sky like a jewelled ceiling. Some of these planets are still warm from the inside, generating their own heat from their molten cores, wrapped in thick blankets of atmosphere that keep them cozy in the cold vacuum. It is a traveller in the dark, a silent monk of the cosmos, moving comfortably through the shadows. Visualize yourself as a passenger on such a world, safely ensconced in the dark, drifting far away from the noise and chaos of burning stars, enjoying the peace of the deep, unending night. From the darkness of the rogue, We look out again into the deep field and spot a faint smudge of light in the constellation of Andromeda. This is our galactic neighbour, the Andromeda Galaxy. It looks like a quiet cloud, but we are looking at a ghost. The light hitting your eyes, or the lens of a telescope, left Andromeda 2.5 million years ago. When that light began its journey, humans did not yet exist. Our ancestors were just beginning to walk upright on the plains of Africa. Mastodons and saber-toothed cats roam the earth. That light has been travelling through the void, silent and steady, for eras of ice ages, the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth of culture, all to reach us right now. Looking at the stars is the only way we can physically look back in time. We are constantly surrounded by the history of the universe. The sky is not a flat ceiling, but a deep tunnel of time. Feel the age of that light washing over you, a gentle, ancient stream that connects you to the deep past. It places your current moment in a vast, slow-moving river of time, where urgency dissolves and only the long, slow duration of the cosmos remains. Let us float closer now, moving toward a specific structure within our own galaxy that looks like a dreamscape brought to life, the pillars of creation in the Eagle Nebula. Visualize massive, towering columns of interstellar gas and dust, standing tall against the glittering backdrop of stars. They look like stalagmites rising from the floor of a cosmic cave, or the spires of a cathedral built by giants. These pillars are trillions of miles high, three-dimensional sculptures of brown and gold dust, illuminated by the intense blue light of newborn stars nearby. These are stellar nurseries. Deep inside these dark, cloudy towers, knots of gas are collapsing under gravity to form new suns. It is a place of beginning. The texture of the nebula looks soft, like billowing smoke or thick velvet, eroded into beautiful shapes by the winds of stars. Imagine floating around these pillars, feeling small against their majestic height. They are silent monuments to creation, standing still in the vacuum, holding the seeds of future solar systems. It is a landscape of profound grandeur, a place where the universe is slowly, quietly building the lights of the future. Rest your mind on the soft, undulating shapes of the pillars, letting their stability and grace anchor your thoughts. Leaving the nursery of stars, we drift back to the quiet companion of Earth, returning to the moon, but this time focusing on a specific silent location, the Sea of Tranquility. Here, in the grey, powdery dust, lies a testament to the stillness of space. There is a boot print here, left by a human explorer decades ago. On Earth, footprints are fleeting. A wave washes them away, the wind fills them with sand, or rain melts them into mud. But on the moon, there is no air, no wind, no rain. There is nothing to disturb the surface. That boot print sits there today, exactly as crisp and fresh as the moment it was pressed into the soil. Unless a wayward meteorite strikes it, that mark will remain there for millions of years. It is a monument to a fleeting moment, preserved in amber-like stasis. Visualize that lonely footprint in the silence, bathed in the harsh sunlight, and then the deep shadow of the lunar night cycling endlessly. It represents a pause button pressed on reality. It invites you to pause your own life, to find a stillness inside you that is as undisturbed as the lunar soil. Let your worries be blown away like dust on Earth, while your core of peace remains as permanent and etched as that mark on the moon. From the silence of the moon, we drift outward to the most beautiful jewel of our solar system, Saturn. While the planet itself is a gas giant of pale gold, it is the rings that capture our dreams. We often think of them as solid disks, but they are actually composed of countless particles of ice and rock, ranging from grains of sugar to boulders the size of houses. But the most mesmerizing fact about these rings is their incredible thinness relative to their width. Saturn's main rings span hundreds of thousands of miles wide, yet in many places they are only about 30 feet thick. If you were to build a scale model of Saturn where the planet was the size of a basketball, the rings would be thinner than a sheet of human hair. They are a razor-thin plane of ice dancing in perfect unison. Imagine floating just above the rings, looking out across a shimmering white expanse that stretches to the horizon like a frozen ocean. The ice crystals catch the sunlight, sparkling and glittering. Because they are so thin, when the sun is behind Saturn, the rings glow with a ghostly ethereal light. It is a delicate balance, a structure of immense size but fragile geometry. Visualizing this thin, shimmering sheet of ice allows your mind to flatten out, smoothing the wrinkles of the day, turning your thoughts into a flat, calm plane of glistening peace, spinning slowly in the silence. As the shimmer of Saturn's ring settles in your mind, a vast, flat ocean of ice suspended in the void, we allow our gaze to travel upward, following the curve of the golden planet toward its northernmost point. Here, at the very top of the world, lies one of the solar system's most hypnotic mysteries. The clouds do not swirl in circles as they do on Earth, nor do they churn in chaotic storms. Instead, they form a perfect geometric shape, a hexagon. Imagine a six-sided storm, massive enough to swallow 4 Earths, spinning slowly, endlessly, at the top of the planet. It is a structure of impossible precision, lines as straight as if drawn by a cosmic architect, holding their shape against the chaos of the atmosphere. The colours here shift with the slow march of Saturnian seasons, transitioning from a deep, bruised blue to a bright, shimmering gold over the course of years. Picture yourself hovering directly above this great North Pole, watching the hexagon rotate. It is a mesmerizing mandala of clouds, a kaleidoscope turning in slow motion. There is something deeply soothing about this order emerging from the chaos, a reminder that even in the wildest winds, there is a hidden structure, a geometry of peace keeping everything in alignment. Watch the 6 sides turn, a rhythmic, hypnotic rotation that acts as a dial, turning down the volume of your thoughts, aligning your own mind into a state of symmetrical balance. Drifting away from the golden giant, we find ourselves pulled toward one of its many companions, the misty moon known as Titan. As we descend through its thick orange haze, the universe unveils a landscape that feels strangely familiar, yet dreamlike in its composition. This is the only other world in our solar system where liquid pools on the surface. But these are not oceans of water, they are vast, silent lakes of liquid methane and ethane. Because the gravity is low and the liquid is different, the lakes of Titan are uncannily still. On Earth, the ocean is always restless, heaving with waves and tides. But here, the lakes are like polished black mirrors, stretching out for hundreds of miles, perfectly flat. Imagine standing on the shore of Ligeia Mare, the largest of these alien seas. The sky above is a heavy, comforting blanket of amber fog, diffusing the distant sunlight into a soft, perpetual twilight. There is no sound of crashing waves, only a profound silence as the dark liquid laps gently, almost imperceptibly against the icy shore. If you were to skip a stone across this surface, it would glide for an eternity. Visualizing this absolute stillness, this mirror-like perfection, invites a similar stillness into your heart. Your mind becomes like the surface of Titan's lakes, dark, deep and undisturbed by the winds of worry, reflecting only the quiet peace of the cosmos. Leaving the orange mists of Titan, we float toward a smaller, brighter jewel in Saturn's crown, the moon Enceladus. It is a dazzling sphere of pure white, covered entirely in fresh, clean ice. It reflects almost all the sunlight that hits it, making it one of the brightest objects in the solar system, a shining snowball hanging in the dark. But the true magic of Enceladus lies at its southern pole. Here, deep fractures in the ice, known as tiger stripes, act as vents for a subsurface ocean. From these cracks, geysers of water vapour and ice particles shoot miles into space, silent fountains erupting in slow motion against the black backdrop. These plumes are so vast that they drift outward and actually form one of Saturn's outer rings, the E-ring. Imagine this cosmic snow machine, silently puffing out clouds of ice crystals that gently spread into a glowing halo. Picture yourself floating through this mist, the tiny frozen diamonds brushing against your skin, a refreshing celestial snowfall that never touches the ground. It is a process of release, pressure building up and being let go, transforming into something beautiful. Feel your own tension releasing like these plumes, venting out into the nothingness, turning into a soft, glittering ring of light that drifts harmlessly away from you. Our journey takes us further out now, leaving Saturn behind as a bright star in the distance, drifting toward the strange and lonely world of Uranus. As we approach, we are greeted by a sphere of pale robin's egg blue, a colour so cool and serene it feels like a visual sigh of relief. This planet is unique among its siblings because it does not spin like a top, it rolls like a ball. Eons ago, a massive collision knocked it onto its side, and now it orbits the Sun rolling along its path. Because of this extreme tilt, the seasons on Uranus are long and profound. Each pole gets 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of continuous darkness. Imagine a winter that lasts for a lifetime, a deep slumbering night where the stars never fade. We are currently drifting toward the dark side of this rolling world. It is the ultimate hibernation. The atmosphere is calm, the temperatures are near absolute zero, and the planet spins in a quiet slumber. Visualize this rolling blue marble, turning slowly in the dark, confident in its unique path, unbothered by the different rules of the other planets. It teaches us that it is okay to move differently, to have our own rhythm, to roll through life at our own pace. Let the cool blue of Uranus wash over your mind, cooling any heat of anxiety, leaving only a refreshing, minty calm. Beyond the rolling blue world, we reach the edge of the classical solar system, entering a region of shadows and ancient history, the Kuiper Belt. This is the attic of our solar system, a vast donut-shaped ring filled with trillions of frozen remnants from the dawn of creation. It is a place of deep twilight, where the sun is just a particularly bright star, appearing no larger than the head of a pin held at arm's length. Here, objects drift in the dark, locked in orbits that take centuries to complete. Floating here, you are surrounded by silent sentinels, dwarf planets, and icy rocks that have not changed in 4 billion years. They are time capsules, preserving the memory of the beginning. It is a graveyard of the calmest kind, where everything is frozen in stasis. Imagine the silence here, billions of miles from the noise of Earth. There is so much space between these objects that you could fly for 1,000,000 years and never hit one. It is not empty, it is spacious. It creates a feeling of immense room to breathe. In this vast quietude, you can feel the expansion of your own consciousness, stretching out to fill the gaps between the drifting ice, finding comfort in the isolation, safe in the knowledge that nothing here is rushed, nothing is urgent, everything simply is. Deep within this belt of frozen wanderers lies the most beloved of the dwarf planets, Pluto. As we drift closer to this small world, we see that it is not a dead rock, but a world of stunning geological heart. Quite literally. Sprawling across its surface is a massive glacier of nitrogen ice, shaped perfectly like a heart. This feature, known as Tombor Regio, is vast, white, and smooth. This heart is alive in its own slow way. The nitrogen ice is soft, flowing slowly like a glacier on Earth, erasing craters and smoothing over the scars of the past. It is a self-healing heart. As the nitrogen warms slightly, it sublimates into a thin atmosphere, then snows back down, refreshing the bright white surface. Visualize this beating white heart at the edge of the solar system, a symbol of love and resilience in the deepest cold. It tells us that even in the farthest, coldest reaches of the dark, there is softness, there is flow, and there is the capacity to heal old wounds. Let the image of Pluto's heart pulse gently in your mind, a white beacon of comfort, reminding you that you too have the power to smooth over the rough edges of your day and find a place of smooth, unbroken peace. Pushing past Pluto, we catch up to a traveller that has been moving away from home since 1977. We see a glint of metal in the dark, Voyager 1. It is a small, silent machine, roughly the size of a car, tumbling gently through the void. It is the furthest human-made object from Earth, a brave little explorer that has crossed the threshold into the unknown. Attached to its side is a golden cover, protecting a phonograph record, the Golden Record. This record holds the sounds of Earth, the song of a whale, the thunder of a storm, the laughter of a child, and greetings in 55 languages. Voyager is a message in a bottle thrown into the cosmic ocean. It is no longer sending pictures back, it is simply drifting, carrying the memory of who we are into the eternal silence. Imagine the absolute solitude of this vessel. It is not lonely, it is purposeful. It carries the essence of humanity into the stars. There is a profound peace in its journey, a release of all attachment. It will drift for billions of years, long after the pyramids have crumbled, a silent testament to the fact that we were here and we dreamed of the stars. Attach your drifting thoughts to Voyager. Let yourself become the traveller, untethered, moving smoothly and endlessly away from the gravitational pull of your responsibilities, carrying only the golden memories of what matters most. As we follow Voyager, we eventually reach a boundary that is invisible but momentous, the heliopause. This is the edge of the bubble. For our entire journey so far, we have been swimming in the solar wind, the stream of particles blowing out from the sun. But here, that wind finally runs out of steam. It clashes against the pressure of the interstellar medium, the stuff between the stars. It is the moment where the river meets the ocean. Imagine a place where the wind suddenly dies down. The turbulence of the solar system, the magnetic storms, the flares, they all fade away here. You're crossing the threshold into the true deep space. It is a calm water, a stagnation point where the forces balance out perfectly. Passing through this veil, you feel a shift in the texture of space. It becomes smoother, deeper, more uniform. The sun is now just one star among many, losing its dominance. You're stepping out of your house and into the wild, open night. Feel the sense of crossing a finish line, of leaving the noise of the house behind and stepping into the cool, quiet garden. The heliopause is your mental boundary. Leave the noise of the world on one side and step through into the velvet silence of the deep dream state. Now, we are truly in the interstellar medium. This is the space between the stars. It is not empty, but it is incredibly thin. On Earth, the air is thick with atoms constantly bumping into you. Here, you might find only one single atom in a space the size of a sugar cube. It is the closest thing to nothingness that exists. But this nothing is full of potential. It is the soup from which new stars will eventually be born. There is a rhythm here, a very long, slow wavelength of radiation humming through the dark. It is the hum of the universe itself. Without the interference of planets or suns, space is a smooth, dark fabric. Imagine floating in a sensory deprivation tank the size of the galaxy. There is no up, no down, no left, no right. There is only suspension. Weightlessness here is absolute. You are supported by the void, held by the absence of pressure. It is a feeling of total unburdening. The heavy coat of gravity has been taken off, the noise of the atmosphere silenced. You are a point of consciousness in an infinite sea of peace. Let this emptiness fill you, not with loneliness, but with clarity. It is a blank canvas, dark and inviting, waiting for your dreams to paint upon it. From this vantage point deep in the interstellar void, we can sense a motion that was invisible to us before. We often think of the sun as stationary, with planets orbiting it. But the sun itself is a traveller. Our entire solar system, the sun, the planets, the moons, and you, is moving at an immense speed, orbiting the centre of the Milky Way galaxy. We are surfing a galactic wave, moving at 500,000 miles per hour. But the galaxy is so vast that this speed feels like stillness. It takes the Sun approximately 230 million years to complete one single orbit around the galaxy. This is known as a galactic year. The last time our solar system was in this exact spot in the galaxy, dinosaurs were just beginning to appear on Earth. The continents were fused together in the supercontinent Pangaea. Flowers had not yet evolved. We have been on a long, slow journey around the cosmic wheel. Think of this immense scale of time. Your life, your worries, your day, they are but a flicker in the galactic year. We are all passengers on a carousel that turns so slowly we cannot feel it, yet it carries us through the ages. Feel the comfort of this long cycle. You are part of a rhythm that is millions of years long. There is no need to rush. The universe moves at its own pace, majestic and slow, and you are moving with it, safe in the arms of deep time, circling the great light of the galactic centre, returning always to where you began, in the endless circle of the night. Surrender to the gentle rotation of our galactic year. Drifting in the arms of deep time, we realise that even this massive spiral we call home is not stationary. We are part of a much larger, more majestic flow. Just as a single raindrop joins a rivulet, and that rivulet joins a stream, our entire Milky Way galaxy, along with thousands of others, is flowing like liquid light across the universe. We are being drawn toward a mysterious gravitational anomaly known as the Great Attractor. It is a point in space hundreds of millions of light years away, a region of such immense mass that it pulls galaxies toward it like a gentle cosmic magnet. Picture this on a grand scale, a river of galaxies, glowing with the light of trillions of stars, all streaming smoothly in the same direction. It is a slow, silent migration through the dark. We are part of a supercluster of galaxies beautifully named Laniakea, a Hawaiian word meaning immeasurable heaven. Visualize yourself floating in this river of light, carried by a current you cannot see but can feel deep in your bones. There is no resistance here, no swimming against the tide. There is only the surrender to the pull, a feeling of being guided toward a great unseen destiny. It is a comforting thought that we are not aimless wanderers. We are part of a grand procession, flowing together through the immeasurable heaven, heading toward a meeting point of infinite mystery and gravity. As we pull back further, rising high above this river of flowing galaxies, the true structure of the universe begins to reveal itself. It is not a random scattering of stars, but a delicate, intricate lattice known as the cosmic web. If you could see the universe from the outside, it would look like a three-dimensional spiderweb made of light, or the neural network of a giant cosmic brain. Galaxies are strung together along thin filaments of gas and dark matter, stretching across the void like glowing threads of silk. Where these threads intersect, massive clusters of galaxies form, shining like dewdrops caught on a web in the morning sun. Visualize this vast network, glowing faintly in the darkness. It connects everything to everything else. You're living inside one of these shimmering threads, a tiny pulse of light in a structure that spans the entire cosmos. It suggests that separation is an illusion. Just as the neurons in your brain are connected to create thoughts, the galaxies of the universe are connected to create reality. Feel the comfort of this connection. You are woven into the tapestry of existence, held securely by these filaments of light, suspended in the grand design, never truly alone, but part of a glowing living geometry. Between these glowing filaments of the cosmic web, there are vast, cavernous spaces where very little exists. These are the cosmic voids. Drifting away from the light of the web, we enter one of the largest of these empty spaces, known as the Boötes void. It is a sphere of emptiness so colossal that it spans 330 million light-years across. It is often called the Great Nothing. If our Milky Way were in the centre of this void, we would not have known other galaxies existed until the invention of telescopes in the 1960s. The night sky would have been a blanket of pure, uninterrupted black. Imagine floating in the centre of this void. It is the ultimate sensory deprivation tank. There is no nearby light, no gravitational turbulence, no noise. It is a place of absolute profound peace. The silence here is not just the absence of sound. It is a heavy, ancient stillness that has existed for billions of years. It is a sanctuary of space. In our busy lives, we're often cluttered with things, with noise, with demands. But here, in the Boötes void, there is only room. Room to breathe, room to be, room to expand. Let your mind drift into this darkened room, feeling the luxury of emptiness, the relief of having absolutely nothing to do and nowhere to be, just floating in the quiet heart of the nothing. Yet even in the emptiness there is a presence. As we float through the structure of the universe, we realize that what we can see, the stars, the planets, the gas clouds, makes up only a tiny fraction of what is actually there. The visible universe is merely the foam on top of a deep invisible ocean. Most of the universe is made of something we cannot see, touch, or reflect light. We call it dark matter. It is the invisible scaffolding that holds the galaxies together. Without it, the stars would fly apart, spinning off into the void. It is the silent, unseen gravity that anchors reality. Imagine it as a clear, heavy glass holding a swirling red wine. You can see the wine, the galaxies, swirling and moving, but you cannot see the glass. Yet, you know it is there because the wine holds its shape. Dark matter is like a ghost in the room, a benevolent presence that adds weight and stability to the cosmos. It passes right through you, invisible and intangible, yet its gravity hugs you, keeping your world intact. It is a reminder that we do not need to see everything to know we are supported. There are invisible hands holding the universe together, forces we cannot comprehend that are working silently in the dark to keep us safe, grounded, and whole. While dark matter pulls things together, there is another mysterious force that does the opposite. A force that breathes space into the universe. We call it dark energy. It is the energy of empty space itself. As we drift, we can feel the universe gently stretching. It is not an explosion, but an expansion. The space between the galaxies is growing, pushing them gently apart, creating more room, more silence, more void. Think of the universe as a giant set of lungs, taking a slow, infinite inhale. With every passing second, the cosmos gets a little bigger, a little airier. This expansion is smooth and relentless. It is overcoming the pull of gravity, winning the tug of war, ensuring that the universe does not collapse in on itself, but instead opens up forever. Visualize this expansion as a feeling in your own chest, a deep breath that expands your ribs, creating space around your heart, creating distance from your worries. Dark energy is the ultimate release. It is the universe refusing to be cramped, refusing to be small. It pushes the walls out, widening the horizon, giving you infinite space to drift. Let yourself expand with it, growing lighter and more diffuse, spreading your consciousness out over the widening plains of the night. Zooming back in from the grand expansion, we look for a place of warmth and shelter. In every solar system there exists a specific region, a narrow band around the star which astronomers call the habitable zone. But it has a much gentler, more storybook name, the Goldilocks zone. It is the region where it is not too hot and not too cold, but just right. If a planet is too close to its star, water boils away into steam. If it is too far, it freezes into ice. But here, in this perfect middle ground, water can flow and life can dream. Earth floats in the middle of this zone, basking in the perfect amount of warmth. Imagine sitting by a campfire on a cool night. If you sit too close, the heat is stinging. If you sit too far back, the darkness chills you. But there is a perfect spot where the heat warms your face and hands, and the cool air refreshes your back. That is where we are. We're in the cosmic sweet spot. This balance is rare and precious. It suggests that you are currently resting in a place of perfect equilibrium. The universe has cradled you in a blanket of temperature that is exactly what you need. Feel that warmth now, the Goldilocks warmth. Neither burning nor freezing, just a gentle, tepid bath of energy that allows you to relax completely. Speaking of that perfect balance allowing for liquid, we often think of water as something unique to our blue planet. But the universe is actually teeming with it, holding oceans in the sky. Far away, floating around a supermassive black hole, a quasar with a name like a license plate, APM 08279NUSLI255, there is a reservoir of water so vast it defies comprehension. It is not a liquid ocean, but a vapour, a colossal mist. This cloud of water vapour contains 140 trillion times the amount of water in all of Earth's oceans combined. Imagine a steam bath on a galactic scale. This mist spreads out over hundreds of light years, warm and enveloping. It is the largest reservoir of water ever discovered. It tells us that the ingredients for life, the substance that makes up most of your body, is abundant in the dark. You're made of the same stuff as these great cosmic clouds. Visualize floating through this warm intergalactic mist. It is humid and soft, hydrating your spirit. It is a cloud of potential rain, a vast misty ocean floating in the void, waiting for a shore. Let the humidity of this thought soften your skin, relaxing the muscles around your eyes, feeling the moisture of the universe soothing you. As we float in this mist, we tune our ears to the background noise of the cosmos. If we could hear the radio waves that permeate every inch of the sky, we would hear a constant low-level static. This is the cosmic microwave background radiation. It is the oldest light in the universe, the afterglow of the Big Bang itself. When the universe began, it was intensely hot and bright. As it expanded and cooled over 13.8 billion years, that initial flash of light stretched out into invisible microwaves. But it is still there, everywhere, surrounding us like a faint echo. In the days of analog television, when you tuned between channels and saw the snowy static and heard that white noise hiss, a small percentage of that static was actually this ancient light, intercepted by your antenna. You were watching the birth of the universe. This sound is the hum of creation. It is a consistent, steady vibration that permeates everything. It is the white noise of the soul. Imagine this sound now, a soft, consistent shh, like a mother soothing a child, or the sound of distant rain. It blankets the universe in a layer of acoustic velvet. Let this ancient static drown out the sharp, spiky thoughts of the present, replacing them with the smooth, eternal hum of the beginning. Drifting through this static, we approach a concept that bends the mind as much as it bends space, the fluidity of time. We perceive time as a constant ticking clock, moving forward second by second. But the universe plays by different rules. Time is not rigid, it is flexible, like molasses. It is affected by gravity. The heavier the object you're near, the slower time moves. This is known as time dilation. If you were to orbit close to a supermassive black hole, where the gravity is immense, time would slow down drastically relative to deep space. A few hours spent near that heavy gravity might equate to decades passing on Earth. It is a literal slowing down of existence. Visualize gravity as a heavy hand placed gently on the clock face, slowing the second hand until it barely moves. This is the ultimate permission to rest. In the heavy, comforting gravity of sleep, time loses its meaning. The urgent ticking of the world fades away. You're entering a zone of high gravity relaxation where a single breath stretches out for an eternity, where the rush of the world speeds by in the distance while you remain suspended in a slow, luxurious bubble of the present moment. There is no late, there is no early, there is only the slow, heavy now. Finally, within this slow time, we encounter a star that possesses a different kind of power, the power of magnetism. We drift toward a magneta. These are the strange cousins of the neutron stars we visited earlier. They are the strongest magnets in the universe. To understand their power, imagine the magnet on your refrigerator. Now, imagine a magnet 1,000,000,000,000 times stronger. If a magnetar were to float halfway between the Earth and the Moon, its magnetic field would be so powerful that it would wipe every credit card on Earth and scramble our electronics. But from a safe distance, in our dreamscape, we can appreciate the sensation of this force. We have iron in our blood flowing through our veins. A magnetar is so powerful it would gently tug at the very atoms of your body, aligning them. Imagine floating in the presence of this great magnetic star, feeling a gentle, tingling sensation as every chaotic energy field in your body is pulled into perfect alignment. It is a cosmic chiropractor, using magnetism to straighten the flow of your energy. Visualize the invisible lines of magnetic force looping out from the star, purple and blue arcs of energy passing through you, organizing your thoughts, polarizing your cells towards rest, pulling you deeply and irresistibly towards the center of sleep. You are magnetized towards the dream, drawn in by a force of nature that cannot be denied, aligned by this cosmic magnetism, drawn toward the center of your own rest. We drift away from the high energy pulsing of the magnetar and seek a place of perfect equilibrium. In the complex dance of gravity between celestial bodies, there exist invisible pockets of absolute stillness known as Lagrange points. These are the parking spots of the universe. Usually in space, you are always falling toward something, toward a planet, a sun, or a black hole. Gravity is a constant demand. But at these specific coordinates, the gravitational pull of two large masses, like the Earth and the Sun, cancels each other out perfectly. Imagine a point in space where the tug-of-war ends. The Earth pulls you one way, the Sun pulls you the other, and the centrifugal force of your orbit balances it all. You are held in a gentle, invisible cradle. There is no drift, no need for engines, no struggle against the tide. Objects placed here will stay here, suspended in the void, locked in a permanent embrace of balance. It is a celestial hammock. Visualize yourself floating in one of these quiet zones, L2 perhaps, hidden behind the shadow of the Earth. It is a sanctuary of stability in a universe of motion. The forces that usually push and pull at you have arrived at a truce. You are weightless, motionless, and effortless, suspended in the sweet spot of existence where all needs are met and all forces are equalized. From this place of invisible balance, our mind travels to a tangible wonder, a world that glitters in the darkness of the Cancer constellation. We drift toward the exoplanet known as 55 Cancri E. Unlike the gas giants or the icy moons we have visited, this is a rocky world, but the rock is unlike anything on Earth. This planet is twice the size of Earth and orbits incredibly close to its star, creating intense heat and pressure. Because it is rich in carbon, scientists believe that 1/3 of this planet's mass is pure diamond. Picture a world where the bedrock, the mountains and the crust are made of translucent, glittering crystal. It is not a diamond rain, but a diamond continent. If you were to stand on a cliff here, the ground beneath your feet would refract the light of the nearby star into 1,000,000,000 rainbows. The entire horizon would sparkle with the fire of cut gems. Imagine the density and the value of this world, a planet-sized jewel spinning in the dark. It is a vision of ultimate luxury and solidity. The light here is prismatic, breaking into spectral colours that dance across the crystalline valleys. Let the image of this solid, shining world anchor you. It represents something unshakable and precious, a treasure chest locked in the vault of the sky, gleaming silently for no one but the universe itself. Leaving the brilliant sparkle of the diamond planet, we pull back to ask a simpler question. What is the colour of the universe itself? We look up and see black, punctuated by white stars. But if you were to take all the light emitted by every galaxy, every star and every gas cloud in the visible universe and blend it together, mixing the reds of dying giants, the blues of newborn stars and the greens of nebulae, you would not get black. You would get a specific average shade of light. Astronomers have calculated this colour, and it is not a dramatic purple or a deep indigo. It is a soft, warm, creamy beige. They have whimsically named this colour cosmic latte. The universe, on average, is the colour of warm milk mixed with espresso. It is the colour of old parchment, of sand dunes, of a cosy sweater. This realization transforms the cosmos from a cold, dark void into a warm, enveloping bath of creamy light. Visualize the universe not as a black ocean, but as a sea of warm cream. It is a comforting domestic colour, suggesting that the universe is not an alien place, but a home. Feel this soft, latte-coloured light washing over you, tepid and soothing, like a warm drink on a cold day, filling the spaces of your mind with a gentle, neutral peace. From the warmth of the cosmic latte, we drift to the other extreme, seeking the deepest chill to cool our thoughts. We travel to the constellation Centaurus, to a ghostly shape known as the Boomerang Nebula. This is officially the coldest place in the universe. It is colder than the empty void of deep space itself. While the background of space hovers around 3 degrees Kelvin, this nebula has expanded so rapidly that it has cooled to just 1 degree above absolute zero. Absolute zero is the theoretical point where all motion stops. Atoms freeze in their tracks. Time essentially stands still. The Boomerang Nebula is a place of profound preservation. It glows with a faint, ghostly blue light, shaped like a bow tie or a wraith in the darkness. Imagine entering this zone of deep freeze. It is not a painful cold. It is a numbing, slowing cold. It is the feeling of a fever breaking, of a cool cloth placed on a hot forehead. In this nebula, the frenetic vibrations of energy are quieted. Everything slows down to a crawl. The racing thoughts, the rapid heartbeat, the heat of the day, all of it is absorbed by the blue mist of the nebula. You're becoming still, preserved in a moment of perfect, icy clarity, suspended in the deep breath of the cosmos. As we hover in the stillness of the nebula, something passes right through us, something that travels the universe without ever stopping. They are called neutrinos, or ghost particles. These tiny subatomic particles are born in the hearts of stars and in the explosion of supernovas. They are so small and interact so weakly with matter that they can pass through lead, rock, and planets as if they were not there. At this very moment, even as you lie in bed, billions of neutrinos are passing through your body. They stream down from the sun, pass through the roof, through your skin, through the mattress, and continue right through the entire Earth, exiting the other side to continue their journey into space. You're transparent to them. This is not a violation, it is a connection. It means you're not a solid wall blocking the universe, you're a sieve, a permeable vessel. There is a lightness to this thought. You're not holding the weight of the world is flowing through you. Visualize these tiny invisible streams of energy washing through you like water through a net, carrying away any blockages, leaving you feeling porous, airy, and light. You are an open window in the house of existence, letting the cosmic breeze blow through. We follow the path of these particles back to a source, arriving at a star that makes our own sun look like a grain of sand. We drift toward the shoulder of the constellation Orion, to the red supergiant Betelgeuse. This star is a colossus. If you were to replace our sun with Betelgeuse, its surface would extend out past the orbit of Jupiter, swallowing Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars whole. It is a pulsing, living giant, nearing the end of its life. It glows with a deep, ruddy orange light, like the embers of a dying fire. Because it is so massive and unstable, it beats like a heart. Over the course of roughly 400 days, it expands and contracts, dimming and brightening in the sky. Visualize floating at a safe distance from this immense sphere of orange fire. It fills your entire field of vision, a wall of warm, slow-moving plasma. The sheer scale of it creates a sense of awe that silences the ego. In the face of such magnitude, our small problems vanish completely. Feel the slow rhythm of the star's pulsation. Expand, contract, expand, contract. Match your breathing to this cosmic heartbeat. It is a slow, heavy rhythm, the drowsy breathing of a giant settling down for a long winter's nap. When giants like Betelgeuse eventually fade, they often leave behind something of exquisite beauty. For smaller stars like our Sun, the end is not an explosion, but a gentle release. We drift now to a planetary nebula. Despite the name, this has nothing to do with planets. It is the final breath of a star, exhaling its outer layers into space. We look upon the Butterfly Nebula, or perhaps the Helix Nebula, which looks like a giant cosmic eye. Picture a star in the centre, shedding its skin in slow motion. Layers of glowing gas, emerald green, electric blue and ruby red, drift outward in perfect symmetrical rings. It is a painting made of light, expanding quietly into the dark. It is the ultimate art of letting go. The star does not hold on to its substance. It releases it to create beauty for the rest of the universe. These clouds of gas will eventually drift and coalesce to form new stars and new worlds. It is a cycle of renewal. Visualize the colours expanding softly, like a drop of ink dispersing in a glass of water, blooming outward in slow, hypnotic swirls. Let yourself mimic this expansion, uncoiling your muscles, releasing your tension, letting your consciousness bloom outward into a soft, colourful cloud of relaxation. Our journey takes us now to the very edge of the Sun's influence, far beyond Pluto, far beyond the Kuiper Belt, to the true shell of our solar system, the Oort cloud. This is a theoretical sphere of icy objects that surrounds us like a massive bubble. It is incredibly distant. It would take Voyager thousands of years to reach it. This cloud is the home of the long-period comets, the icy wanderers that only visit Earth once every few thousand years. Here they sleep, billions of icy rocks, dormant and frozen, floating in a vast spherical shell. It is the boundary wall of our home, the fence at the end of the garden. Because it is a sphere, it wraps around us completely. Think of the Oort cloud as a giant protective energetic shell encasing the solar system. You're deep inside this bubble, nestled in the centre. The vast distance between you and this outer shell creates a buffer zone of immense safety. Nothing from the outside can reach you without crossing this vast threshold. Feel the comfort of being enclosed in this massive icy embrace, a bubble within a bubble, floating in the safe harbour of the sun's gravity. Drifting beyond the shell, we contemplate the fabric of space itself. We used to think of space as a stage where events happen, a rigid backdrop. But Einstein taught us that space is more like a fabric, a flexible material that can curve and stretch. This is the curvature of space-time. Imagine a mattress with a heavy bowling ball placed in the centre. The mattress sinks down, creating a curve. If you roll a marble nearby, it curves around the ball, following the dip in the fabric. Every star, every planet, and even your own body creates a tiny dimple in the fabric of the universe. You're resting in your own little curve of gravity. This concept transforms space into something soft and yielding. It is not a hard vacuum, it is a cushion. Gravity is simply the feeling of sinking into that cushion. Visualize the universe as a series of soft velvet dips and curves. When you lie in your bed, you're mimicking this cosmic truth. You're sinking into the fabric of the mattress, letting gravity hold you in the curve. Let yourself sink deeper now, feeling the support of the space-time beneath you, yielding to your weight, holding you comfortably in its geometry. Finally, we turn our thoughts to the very ground beneath us, to the Earth itself, and its relationship with time. We feel the day passing, the sun rising and setting, a rhythm that feels eternal and fixed. But the Earth is tired, and it is slowing down. Billions of years ago, a day on Earth lasted only 6 hours. The planet spun wildly, a blur of motion. But the friction of the tides caused by the pull of the moon has been acting as a brake, gently dragging on the spinning Earth for eons. This means that with every passing century, the day gets a tiny fraction of a second longer. We are gaining time. The Earth is gradually, imperceptibly easing its pace, spinning slower and slower. It is a planetary deceleration, a cosmic winding down. In the distant future, a day might last for weeks. This slowing is a permission to decelerate your own life. If the planet itself, this massive rock of iron and ocean, is taking its time, slowing its spin, relaxing its momentum, then you can too. You're riding a world that is gently applying the brakes. Feel the rotation of the Earth beneath you, not as a rush, but as a slow, deliberate turn, easing you into a longer, deeper night, stretching the shadows and granting you the gift of a slow, unending rest. As we settle into the rhythm of the Earth's gradual deceleration, allowing our own internal momentum to wind down in sympathy with the planet, we turn our gaze upward to witness the beautiful result of our world's protective embrace. The Earth is wrapped in a magnetic field, an invisible cocoon that shields us from the cosmic winds. When the particles from the sun wash over this shield, they are guided gently toward the poles, creating one of the most hypnotic spectacles in the universe, the aurora borealis. Visualize standing on a snow-covered plain in the deep north, where the silence is absolute. Above you, the night sky begins to wake. Ribbons of emerald green, violet and soft pink unfurl across the stars like curtains blowing in a slow-motion breeze. This is not a chaotic storm, it is a celestial ballet. The lights undulate and shimmer, folding over one another in layers of glowing gas. It is the breath of the sun interacting with the breath of the earth. Despite the immense energy required to light up the sky, the display is completely silent to the human ear. It is a ghost dance of light. Imagine lying back in the snow, warm and insulated, watching these curtains of light wave directly above you. They move with a fluid grace, washing the sky in colour, a visual lullaby that suggests magic is real and that the invisible forces protecting us are beautiful. Let the slow, waving motion of the northern lights guide your thoughts, sweeping away stress with every pulse of green light, leaving only wonder in its wake. While the aurora paints the sky with silence, the source of that energy, the sun, is actually singing a song of its own. We tend to think of the sun as a silent ball of fire, because sound cannot travel through the vacuum of space to reach us. But if we could place a microphone directly onto the surface of the sun, we would hear a deep, resonant roaring. The sun is not a solid rock. It is a fluid body of plasma, and it rings like a giant bell. Pressure waves are constantly coursing through its interior, causing the entire star to vibrate. This discipline is called helioseismology. The sun oscillates, expanding and contracting in complex patterns, creating a fundamental frequency. It is a hum so low, far below the range of human hearing, that it vibrates at a frequency of 1 cycle every 5 minutes. Imagine this sound not as a noise, but as a deep, rhythmic thrumming in the chest of the solar system. It is the heartbeat of our neighbourhood. Visualizing this deep vibration can be incredibly grounding. It is a steady, massive pulse that has been beating for 4.5 billion years, a rhythm of fire and gravity that underpins all life. Tune your inner ear to this imaginary frequency, a low, warm hum that resonates through your bones, harmonizing your energy with the ancient, steady tone of the star that gives us life. This relationship between the sun and our perspective from Earth offers us a coincidence so perfect it feels like a purposeful design. We drift now to the phenomenon of the total solar eclipse. It is a celestial alignment that happens nowhere else in our solar system. The sun is massive, 400 times larger than the moon, but by a stroke of cosmic luck, the sun is also exactly 400 times farther away from Earth than the moon is. Because of this precise ratio, when the two line up in the sky, they appear to be exactly the same size. The moon slides perfectly over the face of the sun, covering it completely, fitting like a key in a lock. When this happens, day turns to a twilight hush. The birds stop singing, the air cools, and around the black circle of the moon, the sun's corona, its wispy white outer atmosphere, flares out like a crown of angelic fire. It is a moment of total unity, where the shadow and the light fit together seamlessly. Visualize this diamond ring effect in the sky, the last burst of sunlight glistening like a jewel before the total eclipse sets in. It reminds us that things in the universe can fit together perfectly. It invites a feeling of alignment in your own life, a sense that your shadow and your light can coexist in balance, creating a spectacle of breathtaking beauty. Speaking of gold and jewels, let us look down at the hands that might be resting on your chest or by your side. If you are wearing a gold ring, or have ever held a gold coin, you are touching the debris of a cataclysmic event. Gold is a heavy element. The universe began with light elements like hydrogen and helium. The furnaces of normal stars can fuse atoms to create carbon and oxygen, but they are not hot enough to create gold. For the gold in your jewellery to exist, it required the death of giants. It was forged in the violent collision of neutron stars, or the supernova explosions of massive suns. These events are so energetic that they smash atoms together to create the heavy, precious metal we cherish. When these stars exploded, they sprayed this gold out into the galaxy as a fine mist. Eons later, that dust settled into the cloud that formed our Earth, sinking deep into the crust waiting to be found. Every ounce of gold on Earth is extraterrestrial. It is a traveller from the deep past. Feel the weight of this concept. The metal is cool and smooth against your skin, a physical connection to the most powerful fireworks the universe can display. It turns the ordinary into the extraordinary, reminding you that you are decorated with the wreckage of stars. But there is something even more precious than gold, something you interact with every single day: water. Let us trace the journey of the water in a glass on your bedside table. We often assume that the water on Earth was formed here, but science suggests a far more ancient origin. Up to half of the water in our oceans and in your glass is older than the sun itself. Before our solar system existed, there was a cold, dark molecular cloud floating in the galaxy. In this cloud, oxygen and hydrogen met on the surface of tiny dust grains, freezing into ice. This interstellar ice survived the birth of the sun, floating in the outer reaches of the system, before raining down on the young Earth in the form of comets and icy asteroids. This means the water you drink is a heritage vintage, brewed in the dark of the galaxy billions of years ago. It has been recycled through rain, rivers, oceans, and clouds for eons, but the molecules themselves have witnessed the dawn of our world. Visualize taking a sip of this cool, clear liquid. As it flows down your throat, imagine you are drinking the essence of the cosmos, a fluid that has travelled across the stars to nourish you. It is a cleansing thought, washing away the trivialities of the present with the purity of the deep past. From the water in your glass, our imagination expands to worlds where there is nothing but water. We drift toward a class of exoplanets known as ocean worlds. Astronomers believe that planets like Kepler 22b or Gliese 12b might be covered entirely in a global ocean, hundreds of miles deep. On Earth, the deepest trench is 7 miles down. On these worlds, the ocean floor might be 10, 50, or 100 miles below the surface. There are no continents, no islands, no beaches. Just an endless, spherical horizon of blue waves under an alien sun. Imagine floating on the surface of such a world. The water is warm, buoyant, and stretches to infinity in every direction. There is no land to walk on, no destination to reach. There is only the gentle rise and fall of the swell. It is the ultimate sensation of flow. You're suspended in a blue eternity, supported by the liquid depth. Let this image of the endless ocean soothe your mind. There are no boundaries here, no walls, just a vast, fluid freedom that invites you to drift forever on the tides of the galaxy. As we drift on these alien waves, we consider the ultimate fate of the stars that shine above them. Most stars, including our own Sun, will eventually run out of fuel. When they do, they will not explode, but gently shed their outer layers and collapse into a small, incredibly dense core known as a white dwarf. A white dwarf is roughly the size of Earth, but with the mass of a sun. It is a star that has retired. It no longer burns fuel, it simply glows with the stored heat of its past glory. Over billions of years, this heat slowly radiates away into the void. As the star cools, the carbon inside it begins to crystallize. Effectively, the star turns into a colossal diamond in the sky, cooling slowly for eternity. It is a peaceful end. There is no violence, just a slow fading into the night. Visualize these billions of white dwarfs scattered throughout the galaxy, like embers in a dying fire, glowing softly with a white-hot light that gradually turns to orange, then red, then fades to black. It is a reminder that rest is the natural conclusion of all effort. After the energy is spent, there is a long, quiet period of simply being, a slow cooling down that is beautiful in its own right. But the universe has a theoretical final chapter for these stars. If we wait long enough, longer than the current age of the universe, a white dwarf will cool completely. It will stop emitting any light or heat at all. It will become a black dwarf. These objects do not yet exist. The universe is simply not old enough for one to have formed. But one day, they will. A black dwarf is a perfect black crystal sphere, floating invisibly in the dark. It is the ultimate stealth object, a star that has found total peace. It does not shine, it does not burn, it interacts with nothing. It simply is. It is a monument to patience. Imagine this perfect black sphere, smooth and silent, hidden in the velvet folds of space. It represents the concept of finished. The work is done. The light has been given. Now there is only the eternal rest of the matter itself. Let your mind touch this object of pure darkness, feeling its cool, solid surface, grounding you in the profound stillness of the far, far future. Though we cannot see these dark objects, the universe has a way of revealing the invisible through a phenomenon called gravitational lensing. Gravity is so powerful that it can bend light itself. If a massive galaxy sits between Earth and a distant star, the galaxy acts like a giant glass lens. It warps the space around it, causing the light from the background star to curve around the galaxy and reach our eyes. This means we can see things that are hiding behind other massive objects. The universe provides us with a natural telescope, a funhouse mirror that distorts and magnifies the background. When we look through these lenses, we see arcs of light, halos, and rings, distant galaxies stretched into smiles of light. It is a gentle reminder that perspective is everything. Even if something is blocking your view, there is a way to see around it. The light will find a way. It flows like water around a stone. Visualize the light of distant stars curving softly around the obstacles in space, arriving at your eyes after a long, winding journey. It suggests a universe that is fluid and accommodating, where light bends to greet you, no matter what stands in the way. Finally, we pull back to look at our own home from this vast, curved perspective. We invoke the overview effect, a shift in consciousness reported by astronauts who have seen Earth from space. From the surface, the world seems immense, divided by borders, walls, and vast distances. But from the silence of orbit, the truth is revealed. You see a fragile blue marble hanging in the void. The atmosphere, which protects all life, appears as a razor-thin line of glowing blue haze, thinner than the skin of an apple. You see no borders. You see one single interconnected system. Clouds moving from ocean to continent, storms swirling, deserts glowing. It is a singular organism breathing in the black vacuum. This perspective dissolves the feeling of separation. It makes you realize that you're not just a person on Earth, you're a part of Earth. You're a cell in this planetary body. Visualize yourself floating high above the world, Looking down at the slow rotation of the continents, the silence is profound. The sun rises over the curved horizon, a brilliant diamond flare that illuminates the atmosphere. In this view, all conflicts vanish, all noise is silenced, and there is only the overwhelming beauty of our shared home, floating safely, carrying us all together through the peaceful, endless night. Floating in this high, silent orbit, gazing down at the singular breathing organism of our planet, we become aware of the delicate threshold that separates the air we breathe from the vacuum of the infinite. This boundary is known as the Kármán line. It is not a solid wall or a visible barrier, but a soft, gradual fading of the sky. Imagine rising slowly from the surface, passing through the clouds, watching the blue of the atmosphere deepen into a rich indigo, then a dark violet, and finally dissolving into the absolute velvet black of space. There is a specific altitude, roughly 62 miles up, where the atmosphere becomes too thin to support flight, yet too thick to be considered true space. It is the twilight zone of the Earth. Visualize drifting in this transition layer. Below you, the curve of the Earth glows with the scattered light of the sun. Above you, the stars stop twinkling and begin to burn with a steady, unblinking clarity. Crossing this line is a spiritual act as much as a physical one. It is the moment you leave the cradle and enter the vast ocean. Feel the sensation of shedding the heavy blanket of the atmosphere, rising light and unencumbered into a realm where the air no longer presses against your skin, where the wind stops, and the only sound is the rhythm of your own peaceful awareness. Drifting just beyond this threshold, moving at 17,000 miles per hour, we encounter a rhythm of light and dark that defies our terrestrial clock. On Earth, we're accustomed to one sunrise and one sunset every 24 hours, a slow, daily cycle of waking and sleeping. But for the astronauts floating in the International Space Station, or for a spirit drifting in low Earth orbit, the sun rises and sets every 90 minutes. They witness 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets in a single day. Imagine this accelerated kaleidoscope of time. Every 45 minutes you are plunged into the deepest night, followed 45 minutes later by a blinding, brilliant dawn that explodes across the horizon in bands of orange, turquoise and white. It is a constant pulsing of light, a strobe of celestial energy, yet, because the motion is so smooth, it does not feel chaotic. It feels like a rapid heartbeat, a breathing cycle of the planet itself. Light, dark, light, dark. This rhythm washes over you, dissolving the rigid structure of your daily schedule. Here, there is no time for bed or time for work. There is only the eternal loop of the sun playing peekaboo with the world, a hypnotic cycle that lulls the mind into a trance of pure observation. Moving further out, away from the busy highways of low orbit, we ascend to a region of profound stillness known as the graveyard orbit. This is a specific ring of space, thousands of miles above the Earth, where satellites go to die. When a geostationary satellite reaches the end of its life, it uses its last drop of fuel to push itself upward, away from the active machines, into this final resting place. It is a cosmic elegy. Thousands of silent machines, weather sentinels, communication relays, spies of the Cold War drift here in the dark. They have finished their work. Their batteries are cold, their antennas are silent. They tumble slowly, endlessly, in a vacuum where there is no rust, no decay, and no wind to disturb them. They will remain here for millions of years, perfectly preserved monuments to human curiosity. Visualize this silent museum of metal in the sky. It is a place of absolute non-interference. Nothing happens here. There is only the slow, tumbling drift of sleeping machines under the starlight. It is a comforting thought that even our technology has a place of rest, a sanctuary in the void where it can float forever, burden-free, released from the duty of connection and transmission. As we drift past these silent sentinels, we turn our gaze toward our celestial companion, the moon. But we venture to a side of it that is forever hidden from human eyes on Earth. This is the far side of the moon. Because the moon spins at the exact same speed that it orbits Earth, it always shows us the same face. The other side, the dark side, though it receives plenty of sunlight, is a landscape of mystery. But its true power lies in its silence. The bulk of the moon acts as a massive shield, blocking all the radio waves, television signals, and electronic chatter from Earth. If you were to stand on the surface of the far side, you would be in the quiet zone of the solar system. It is the most radio-quiet place in our neighbourhood. The constant hum of human civilization is cut off completely. There is no static, no interference, only the pure, unadulterated silence of the universe. Imagine standing in the centre of a crater on the far side. The sky above is filled with more stars than you have ever seen, burning with a fierce brightness because there is no atmosphere to dim them. You are shielded from the noise of the world by 2,000 miles of rock. It is a sanctuary of solitude, a place where you can finally hear the subtle whispers of the galaxy, the deep quiet allowing your own mind to settle into a silence as heavy and ancient as the crater stones beneath your feet. While the far side offers silence, the near side offers a ghostly beautiful glow known as Earthshine. When the moon is a thin crescent in our sky, you can sometimes see the rest of the moon's face faintly illuminated, glowing with a soft, ashen light. This is not sunlight. It is the reflection of the Earth itself. Sunlight hits the Earth, bounces off our bright white clouds and blue oceans, travels across the void, strikes the dark surface of the moon, and reflects back to our eyes. It is a journey of light from sun to earth, to moon to you. It is often poetically called the old moon in the new moon's arms. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the first to understand this ghostly luminescence. Visualize sitting on the dusty grey surface of the moon at night, looking up. You would not see a simple moon, you would see the Earth, a massive swirling orb 4 times brighter than the full moon, hanging overhead. Its blue light bathes the lunar landscape in a cool turquoise twilight. This soft light is a reminder of the connection between the two worlds. Even in the dark, the Earth reaches out to light up the shadows of its companion. Let this soft secondary light wash over your thoughts, a gentle, indirect illumination that reveals the beauty in the darkness without the harsh glare of the sun. Turning our eyes now to the source of all this illumination, we must correct a lifelong illusion. We draw closer to the sun, moving beyond the filter of Earth's atmosphere. From the surface of our planet, the sun appears yellow, golden, or sometimes orange at sunset. But this is a trick of the air, which scatters blue light and leaves the warmer tones to reach our eyes. If you were floating here in deep space looking directly at the sun, you would see its true colour. It is not yellow. It is a blinding, pure diamond white. It is the combination of every colour in the spectrum radiating with perfect intensity. It looks like a hole punched in the fabric of the universe, revealing a realm of pure, absolute brilliance behind it. It is a whiteness so clean and total that it feels like a cleansing fire. Imagine this pure white light, stripping away the colours and complications of your emotions, leaving only a state of clear, blank serenity. It is the colour of new beginnings, of a blank page, of fresh snow. Basking in this true white light, you feel a sense of clarity, as if the fog of the world has been lifted, revealing the simple, bright truth of existence. Drifting closer to this sphere of white fire, we see that its surface is not smooth like a marble, but textured like the skin of an orange. This is the phenomenon of granulation. The sun is covered in millions of convective cells, each one the size of Texas. Hot plasma rises from the deep interior, bubbles up to the surface, cools, and sinks back down in the dark lanes between the granules. It looks like a vast, simmering pot of golden honey. But despite the immense energy, the motion is slow and rhythmic on this scale. It is a slow-motion churning, a mesmerizing pattern of rising and falling that has been happening for billions of years. It creates a texture that feels almost organic, like the cells of a giant living leaf or the pores of a breathing skin. Visualize this endless, silent bubbling. It is a cycle of renewal, energy rising, releasing, and returning to the depths to be warmed again. It invites you to visualize your own thoughts in this way, bubbling up to the surface of your mind, releasing their heat, and then sinking back down into the calm depths of your subconscious, a continuous, healthy flow of energy that never stagnates. Rising above this bubbling surface, we witness one of the sun's most graceful sculptures, a solar prominence. These are massive loops of glowing plasma that arc out from the surface, suspended by invisible magnetic fields. They form giant bridges of fire thousands of miles high, standing against the black backdrop of space. Unlike the explosive flares, a prominence can be incredibly stable, holding its shape for weeks or even months. It is a monument of fire that refuses to fall. Imagine a cathedral archway made of red-hot light, tall enough for the earth to pass underneath it with room to spare. The plasma flows along the magnetic lines, glowing in deep reds and pinks, tracing the invisible skeleton of the magnetic field. It is a perfect balance between the outward pressure of the hot gas and the inward pull of gravity and magnetism. It is a lesson in tension and release, showing how powerful forces can work together to create a stable, beautiful form. Visualize yourself gliding under this silent arch of fire, protected and safe, admiring the structural integrity of the light, feeling the stability of the forces that hold the universe together, pulling back from the heat, zooming out to the very edge of the sun's influence. We discover the shape of the bubble we live in. We used to think the heliosphere, the bubble of solar wind that surrounds the solar system, was round. But as we move through the interstellar medium, recent data suggests it is shaped more like a croissant or a comet. We are travelling through the galaxy, and the solar wind is being blown back behind us, creating a long, trailing tail. We are living inside a cosmic vessel that is streamlining its way through the stars. Imagine this shape, a rounded, protective nose leading the way, and a long, flowing wake trailing behind us for billions of miles. We are not sitting still, we're flying in formation. The sun leads, and all the planets, moons, and asteroids are tucked safely inside the head of this structure, protected from the harsh rays of the rest of the galaxy. It is a feeling of being in a cradle that is moving. You're a passenger in the front seat of a starship made of magnetic wind. Feel the momentum of this journey, the sleekness of our passage through the dark, cutting through the interstellar fog with an aerodynamic grace. Inside this moving bubble, there is a constant, invisible rain known as cosmic rays. These are high-energy particles, protons and atomic nuclei, travelling at nearly the speed of light, originating from supernovas and exploding stars far beyond our own galaxy. They rain down on the solar system from every direction, every second of every day. While they are invisible to the naked eye, astronauts in deep space often report a strange phenomenon. Even with their eyes closed, they see sudden, tiny flashes of white light dancing in their vision. These are phosphonies, caused by a single cosmic ray passing through the visual nerve. It is a direct connection between the brain and the deep universe. It is a reminder that even when we close our eyes to the world, the universe is still there, interacting with us, touching us with energy that travelled millions of light years just to create a tiny spark in our mind. Visualize these gentle, silent sparks as a form of cosmic communication, a Morse code of light from the deep past, reassuring you that you're never truly cut off, that the energy of the stars is woven intimately into the very fibres of your perception. Drifting away from the spark of the cosmic rays, we allow our attention to settle on the emptiness that lies between the planets. We call it a vacuum, but it's not just empty space. It is a landscape of temperature extremes. In the direct sunlight of space, objects can boil. In the shadow, they freeze. But this lack of atmosphere creates a unique sensory environment, the silence of insulation. Without air molecules to conduct heat or sound, space is the ultimate insulator. Think of a thermos keeping your tea warm. The vacuum of space is the biggest thermos in existence. If you were a warm object floating in the void, you would not instantly freeze as the movies suggest. Because there is no air to steal your heat away, you would stay warm for a very long time, your heat radiating away slowly, glowing gently in the infrared. It is a cozy thought. The vacuum wraps you in a blanket of nothingness that preserves your energy. You're contained. You're self-sufficient. In the vast, cold dark, your own warmth is your sanctuary, held close to you by the physics of the void. Let this feeling of thermal isolation wrap around you, a protective barrier that keeps your warmth in and the cold out, leaving you suspended in a comfortable personal bubble of heat. From this cozy isolation, we look out at the backdrop of stars and notice that they are not all white. In the constellation of Orion, below the 3 stars of the belt, lies a fuzzy patch of light, the Orion Nebula. This is a stellar nursery, a cavern of gas and dust where new stars are being born. But the most relaxing aspect of this nebula is its colour. To the sensitive eye of a telescope, it is a painting in hues of soft pink, dusty rose, and tranquil green. The green comes from oxygen atoms glowing in the dark, and the pink from hydrogen. Imagine a cloud the size of hundreds of solar systems, glowing with the soft pastel light of a spring garden. It is a cosmic flower blooming in the winter night. The gases swirl and eddy, forming soft pillows and pillars. It is a place of creation, not destruction. Deep inside these pink clouds, gravity is gently pulling dust together to form new suns, wrapping them in warm blankets of gas. It is the womb of the galaxy. Visualize yourself floating into this rose-coloured mist, the soft light illuminating your face. The air here, if there were air, would feel thick and rich with potential. It is a place to rest your mind, a place where the universe is young, soft, and full of the promise of new light. Deep within the soft, rose-coloured folds of the Orion Nebula, nestled in the very heart of the gas cloud, lies a treasure chest of celestial jewels known as the Trapezium Cluster. Imagine floating through the thick pastel mists of the nebula, pushing aside the curtains of hydrogen dust, until you suddenly break through into a vast, cleared cavern. Here, in the centre, 4 massive, brilliant stars are huddled together, burning with a fierce diamond blue intensity. These are not gentle suns, they are giants, thousands of times brighter than our own star. Their light is so powerful that it acts like a physical wind. It pushes the gas away, carving out a hollow bubble inside the nebula. Visualize this cathedral of light, a cavern sculpted by pure radiance. You are floating in the clear, empty space of the bubble, surrounded on all sides by walls of glowing, mountainous clouds. It is a sanctuary within a sanctuary. The light from these 4 stars illuminates the inner walls of the cavern, making the gas glow with ethereal greens and sulphurous yellows. It is a scene of dramatic, silent power. These stars are the sculptors of the sky, using their light as chisels to shape the dust into pillars and valleys. Resting your mind in this cleared space, you feel the power of your own inner light, pushing back the fog of confusion, carving out a clear, bright space where you can exist in perfect clarity and peace. Drifting away from the blinding brilliance of the blue giants, we seek a softer, dimmer light, descending the stellar scale to find the almost stars, the brown dwarfs. These are the cozy, tepid objects of the universe, bridging the gap between a giant planet like Jupiter and a small star. They are not massive enough to ignite the nuclear fires that burn in the sun, so they do not shine with blinding white or yellow light. Instead, they glow with a deep, surreal warmth. If you could float near a brown dwarf, you would not be burned. In fact, some of these objects have surface temperatures similar to a fresh cup of tea or a warm bath. Imagine a star that you could comfortably warm your hands by. Their colour is unique in the cosmos, a deep, rich magenta, a blend of glowing red and purple. Visualize this dark violet sphere hanging in the void, radiating a gentle toaster-like heat. It is a failed star only by name. In presence, It is a triumph of comfort. It represents the middle path, neither the freezing cold of a stone nor the scorching heat of a sun. It is a celestial ember glowing softly in the dark, inviting you to curl up near its magenta warmth, safe in the knowledge that it will never flare, never burn, only glow steadily for eons. This steadiness brings us to their slightly larger cousins, the red dwarfs. These are the tortoises of the universe. Our own sun is a yellow dwarf, burning its fuel quickly, destined to last only about 10 billion years. But a red dwarf burns so slowly, so efficiently, that it sips at its fuel. These small dim stars glowing like the dying embers of a campfire will not burn out in billions of years. They will last for trillions. Consider the scale of that patience. The universe is currently only roughly 14 billion years old. These stars are just toddlers. Long after our sun has expanded and faded, long after the Milky Way has merged with other galaxies, these little red lights will still be shining. They are the keepers of the eternal flame. Visualize a landscape lit by a red dwarf, a permanent soft crimson twilight. There is no rush here. The star is in no hurry to finish its life. It settles in for the long haul, outlasting everything else. Connect your breath to this longevity. Breathe in the endurance of the red dwarf. Let go of the anxiety of the ticking clock. In the grand scheme of the cosmos, there is time enough for everything. There is an eternity of soft red light waiting for you. As we contemplate the slow burning of the stars, we must also feel the motion of the galaxy they inhabit. We often visualize the solar system moving in a flat circle around the galactic center, like a record spinning on a turntable. But the truth is more rhythmic and undulating. Our sun, and all the planets with it, does not just move forward, it bobs up and down. Imagine a horse on a grand carousel. As the galaxy spins, our solar system slowly rises above the flat plane of the Milky Way, peaks, and then dives down through the disk to the bottom, before rising again. This is a vertical oscillation, a cosmic wave. We drift through the thickest part of the galaxy, the galactic plane, roughly every 30 million years. Currently we're drifting slightly above the plane, moving north. Visualize this gentle, sinusoidal motion. We're surfing a wave of gravity that is light years high. It adds a soothing, rocking motion to our journey. We are not just travelling in a line, we are being cradled, lifted up and lowered down by the galaxy itself. Feel this motion in your body, a slow, hypnotic bobbing, like a boat on a calm swell, rocking you deeper and deeper into a trance of movement and rest. In this galactic ocean, not every object wanders alone. Drifting near the giant planet Jupiter, we find two mysterious groups of asteroids that display a profound sense of discipline and loyalty. These are the Trojan asteroids. They are not caught in the chaotic belt between Mars and Jupiter. Instead, they share Jupiter's orbit, marching in perfect formation. One massive group travels 60 degrees ahead of the planet, and another group travels 60 degrees behind. They are locked in gravitational sweet spots, the Lagrange points we spoke of earlier. They are the royal guards of the gas giant, always there, never getting closer, never falling behind. They have been trapped in this formation for billions of years. Imagine this silent parade in the dark, the massive striped king of planets, flanked by two clouds of loyal stones, moving in a synchronized curve around the sun. It is a display of cosmic order. It creates a feeling of being accompanied, of being flanked by protection. You're not walking your path alone. There are forces ahead of you clearing the way, and forces behind you guarding your back, all moving in a perfect silent lockstep. Drifting far beyond the order of our solar system, we look out into the deep intergalactic night and witness a slow-motion dance that will one day transform our entire sky. We see the Andromeda galaxy, our massive spiral sister, moving toward us. This is not a collision in the violent sense. It is a merger, a celestial waltz. Gravity is pulling the Milky Way and Andromeda together at a speed of 70 miles per second. But because the distances are so vast, the dance will take 4 billion years to complete. When we finally meet, the stars are so far apart that they will almost certainly not collide. They will simply pass through one another, like two ghosts walking through each other in a hallway. The two galaxies will swirl and mix, their spiral arms unfolding like ribbons, eventually merging into a single massive elliptical galaxy that astronomers have already named Milkomeda. Visualize this future union. It is a marriage of light. The night sky of the future will be filled with a haze of new stars, a bright and glorious mixing of families. It suggests that the ultimate destiny of things is not separation, but unity. We are slowly, inevitably, falling into the arms of our neighbour, destined to become something larger, brighter, and more whole. Before this great merger happens and before the stars were born, there was a time of profound simplicity. We let our minds drift back before the Earth, before the Sun, back to the era known as the Cosmic Dark Ages. After the Big Bang cooled down, but before the first stars ignited, the universe was filled with hydrogen gas and absolute darkness. There were no points of light, no galaxies, just a smooth, endless sea of invisible gas. This period lasted for hundreds of millions of years. It was the pristine night. Imagine floating in this era. It is not scary. It is clean. It is a blank slate of infinite proportions. The noise of creation had faded, and the noise of stars had not yet begun. It was the universe sleeping its first, deep sleep. There is a profound comfort in this image. A universe that is simply resting, pregnant with potential, but currently doing absolutely nothing. It is the ultimate before. Let your mind rest in this dark, silent womb of time, where there are no demands, no sights, no sounds, only the velvet quiet of existence waiting to wake up. Then, slowly, the change began. We witnessed the era of reionization, often poetically called the cosmic dawn. Deep in the dark, gravity began to pull clumps of gas together. They grew hotter and denser until, flash, the very first star flickered into existence. Then another and another. But this was not just the appearance of light. It was the lifting of a fog. The ultraviolet light from these newborn stars hit the surrounding gas and turned it transparent. Imagine standing on a mountaintop as the morning sun burns away a thick valley mist. The curtain was pulled back. The universe became clear. Light could finally travel freely across the cosmos. Visualize this gentle clearing. The opaque walls of the Dark Ages dissolving, revealing a sky full of newborn jewels. It is the feeling of waking up refreshed, the clarity that comes after a deep sleep. The fog lifts, the confusion vanishes, and you are left with a transparent, boundless view of the truth. Feel the light of clarity washing through your mind, dissolving the mists of the day, leaving your thoughts clear, bright, and calm. As we gaze through this clear universe, we realize that there is a limit to what we can see, a boundary known as the cosmic horizon. Because light takes time to travel, and the universe has a specific age, we can only see objects whose light has had enough time to reach us since the beginning of time. It is like being on a ship in the middle of a vast ocean. You can see to the horizon in every direction, but you know the ocean continues beyond that line. The observable universe is a bubble of light centered on you. Beyond that edge, there are more galaxies, more stars, more wonders, but their light hasn't reached us yet. They are the unobservable universe. This is not a cage, it is a promise. It means that the mystery is endless. No matter how much we know, there is always more beyond the edge of sight. Visualize this horizon as a circle of mist surrounding you. It is the edge of your current reality, but beyond it lies infinite potential. It invites you to let go of the need to know everything, to control everything. Rest comfortably in the center of your bubble, knowing that the universe extends forever, deep into the unknown, safe and vast beyond your vision. Finally, we return to the center of that bubble, to the very nature of the reality you are experiencing. We contemplate the anthropic principle, or the fine-tuning of the cosmos. It is a realization that brings a deep sense of belonging. The laws of physics, the strength of gravity, the weight of an electron, the speed of light, are set to very precise values. If gravity were slightly stronger, the universe would have collapsed instantly. If it were slightly weaker, stars would never have formed. If the electromagnetic force were different, atoms could not hold together. It seems as though the universe has been dialed in with impossible precision to allow you to exist. It is a Goldilocks universe in every dimension. Not too heavy, not too light, not too fast, not too slow. Just right. Whether this is chance or destiny, the feeling is the same. The cosmos fits you like a tailored suit. You're not a stranger here. You're not an accident struggling against a hostile environment. You're the result of a universe that has balanced itself perfectly to cradle life. Feel this perfect fit. The air you breathe, the gravity that holds you, the atoms that make you, they're all tuned to the same frequency. You're meant to be here. You're home. Let this sense of absolute belonging settle deep into your bones, anchoring you in the safety and rightness of the present moment as you drift deeper into the perfect fine-tuned darkness of sleep. Floating within this fine-tuned reality, where every law of physics seems calibrated for your existence, we turn our attention to the immediate sensation of your body resting against the surface beneath you. You feel the firmness of the mattress, the softness of the sheets, the support of the pillow. It feels like direct contact, solid and grounding. But the universe holds a secret about touch. On the atomic level, nothing ever truly touches anything else. The electrons that orbit the atoms of your skin and the electrons that orbit the atoms of the fabric are both negatively charged. Like two magnets with the same polarity, they repel each other with an incredibly powerful force. What you interpret as the sensation of touch is actually the electromagnetic force of repulsion. You're hovering. At this very moment, your body is levitating a tiny microscopic distance above the bed, suspended on a cushion of invisible energy fields. You're floating on a raft of physics. Visualize this microscopic gap, this nanometer of air and energy that separates you from the rest of the world. You're an island of consciousness, encapsulated in your own energy, held up by the forces of the universe without ever being bound by them. Let this realization of hovering make you feel lighter, as if the bed is not just supporting you, but gently pushing you up, holding you in a suspended state of weightless grace. While you float on this cushion of energy, take a slow, deep breath. Feel the air filling your lungs, cool and revitalizing. We often think of air as oxygen, but there is a silent traveler in every breath you take: argon. This noble gas makes up about 1% of our atmosphere, but unlike oxygen or carbon dioxide, it does not react with anything. It enters your body, travels through your blood, and leaves again completely unchanged. It is the ghost of the periodic table. Because it is so stable and inert, the argon atoms in the atmosphere today are the exact same atoms that have been there for billions of years. The breath you just took contains argon atoms that were once breathed in by a Tyrannosaurus rex, stalking through a prehistoric jungle, by an ancient philosopher pondering the stars, and by your own ancestors. You're sharing the breath of history. The air is a time machine, a continuously cycling reservoir of the past. Visualize these tiny ancient atoms flowing into you, connecting you to the entire timeline of life on Earth. They have travelled through the lungs of history to reach you, bringing with them a silence that has lasted for eons. Let the permanence of the air steady your breathing, finding a rhythm that is as old as the sky itself. This air we breathe is part of a planet that is travelling through a very specific region of the galaxy. We are currently passing through a vast cavern in the interstellar medium known as the local bubble. Imagine the galaxy as a dense forest of thick clouds and gas, but our solar system is currently drifting through a clearing, a meadow in the woods. This bubble is a cavity of hot, thin gas stretching hundreds of light years across, likely carved out by supernovas that exploded millions of years ago. Because we are in this bubble, our view of the universe is exceptionally clear. We're not looking through a thick fog, we're looking through a window. The stars shine brighter and sharper because of this emptiness. We have been travelling through this clearing for a few million years, and we have a few million more to go. It is a smooth patch of road on our galactic journey. Visualize the solar system as a small ship sailing across a calm, glass-like lake, surrounded by the dense fog of the galaxy on distant shores. We are in the open water, where the sailing is smooth and the view is endless. Feel the lack of friction, the ease of movement, as we glide effortlessly through this protected pocket of space. In the spirit of effortless movement, we cast our minds to the rings of Saturn again, to witness a dance that embodies cooperation and grace. Among the many moons of Saturn, there are two small ones named Janus and Epimetheus. They orbit the planet on almost the exact same track, one slightly ahead of the other. In a typical universe, gravity would dictate a collision. But these two perform a polite and gentle do-si-do. Every 4 years, the inner moon catches up to the outer moon. Instead of crashing, they exchange energy. The inner moon gains speed and moves outward, while the outer moon loses speed and moves inward. They gracefully swap places, pirouetting around each other without ever touching, and then continue on their way in their new orbits. It is a celestial changing of the guard. Imagine this silent orbital ballet, a dance of perfect timing and respect. It suggests a universe where paths can cross without conflict, where objects can share space by flowing around one another. Visualize the moons bowing to each other in the dark, swapping lanes in a slow, rhythmic sway. Let your mind mimic this fluidity, stepping aside from heavy thoughts, allowing them to pass by while you shift gently into a new, quieter orbit. Drifting further out into the galaxy, we search for worlds that defy our expectations of weight and solidity. We arrive at the Kepler 51 star system, home to a trio of planets known as the superpuffs. These are worlds the size of Jupiter, but with a fraction of the mass. They're incredibly light and airy. Astronomers have compared their density to that of cotton candy. They're immense balls of gas and fluff, puffed up by their proximity to their star. If you could find a bathtub big enough, a cosmic ocean, these planets would not sink. They would float like bath toys. Imagine a planet made of pink mist and sugar clouds, a world without a hard surface, just layers of soft, billowing pastel gas. It is a whimsical image, a planet that feels more like a cloud than a rock. Visualize yourself resting on such a world. There is no hard ground to hit, only a soft, deepening cushion of vapour. You sink slowly, gently, supported by the fluffiness of the atmosphere, wrapped in layers of soft, warm gas. It is the ultimate sensation of softness, a world that is all pillow and no bed. Leaving the cotton candy clouds, we travel to a star system that offers a visual spectacle of deep romantic nostalgia, Kepler 16b. This is a circumbinary planet, which means it orbits not one sun, but two. If you were to stand on the surface of this world in the evening, you would witness a double sunset. One sun is bright and orange, the other is smaller and red. As the day ends, they sink toward the horizon together, sometimes side by side, sometimes one tucking behind the other. The sky is painted with double the colours, layers of deep crimson, burnt orange and violet. You would cast two shadows on the ground, which would slowly merge into one as the stars disappear. Imagine the beauty of this dual light fading. It is a slow, lingering goodbye to the day. The twilight here lasts longer, the colours are richer, and the transition to night is a complex, beautiful fade. Watch the two suns dip below the alien hills in your mind's eye, a harmonious closing of the day, doubling the peace, doubling the rest. From the colours of sunset, we move to the deepest shadows. In space, shadows are different than on Earth. On Earth, light scatters through the air, filling the shadows with grey light. But in the vacuum of space, shadows are absolute. They are crisp, black, and total. This is the umbra. When a spacecraft or a moon passes behind a planet, it enters a cone of pure darkness. This is the darkest place you can be, shielded entirely from the sun. Imagine our Earth casting a long conical shadow, stretching out into the solar system for 1,000,000 miles. Every night, when you go to sleep, you're riding the Earth as it turns away from the sun, carrying you into this cool, dark shadow. You're entering the shade of the planet. It is a nightly shelter, a cave of darkness carved out of the sunlight. Visualize the sun as a roaring fire and the Earth as a large stone. You're curling up behind the stone in the cool, protected quiet. The shadow is a blanket pulled over the world, a signal that it is time to rest, to cool down, to hide away in the safety of the dark. Deep in the centre of our galaxy, there is a shadow that anchors us all. We often fear black holes, calling them monsters. But the supermassive black hole at the centre of the Milky Way, Sagittarius A, is better thought of as the galactic anchor. It is the hub around which our entire galaxy turns. Without its immense gravity, the beautiful spiral arms of the Milky Way might unwind and drift apart. It is the central pillar, the kingpin of the structure. It is relatively quiet now, a sleeping giant, occasionally snacking on a cloud of gas but mostly sitting in dark silence. Visualize it not as a whole, but as a dense, stable pivot point. It holds the leash of gravity that keeps our sun and us from flying off into the emptiness. It is a grounding force. Just as the sun holds the planets, this dark centre holds the stars. Feel the stability of this arrangement. We are tethered to a centre, revolving in a grand, stable circle. We are not lost. We are held. Let the weight of that central anchor pull your centre of gravity down, grounding you deep in your bed, immovable and secure. Far away from the anchor of the galactic centre, in the lonely stretches of intergalactic space, there are stars that have chosen a different path. These are hypervelocity stars. Through complex gravitational interactions, these stars have been kicked out of their galaxies. They are breaking the speed limit, travelling so fast that they escape the galaxy's pull entirely. They are running out into the void, leaving the city of stars behind to explore the open country of the universe. They are the ultimate introverts, the solo travellers. A star like this will travel alone for billions of years, lighting up its own private patch of the infinite dark. There is a profound freedom in this image. No orbits to follow, no neighbours to bump into, just a straight, fast line into the unknown. Imagine being such a star, burning bright and strong, untethered from all obligations, racing with joy into the endless open quiet. It is the feeling of driving on an empty highway at night, the freedom of the open road where the destination is less important than the spaciousness of the journey. Finally, we look to the far, far future, to a concept that sounds somber but is actually the ultimate state of relaxation: entropy. The universe is slowly, inevitably moving from a state of order and high energy to a state of equilibrium. Heat flows from hot things to cold things, energy spreads out, the knots untie. This process is often called the heat death, but a better name is the great unwinding. The universe is relaxing, it is letting go of its tension. Stars are slowly burning out, ripples are smoothing over, and energy is distributing itself evenly across the void. It is a return to stillness. It is the universe exhaling its long, final breath. There is no struggle in this, only a gentle settling. Imagine the cosmos as a glass of water that was stirred vigorously and is now being left to sit. The swirls slow down, the bubbles rise, and the water becomes perfectly clear and still. You are a microcosm of this universe. You too are unwinding. You're letting your heat spread out into the cool sheets, letting your tension dissolve into the air, moving toward your own state of perfect, peaceful equilibrium. Everything is slowing down. Everything is smoothing out. The universe is resting, and so are you. As we drift within this universal unwinding, allowing our own internal clocks to slow down in sympathy with the cooling cosmos, we gain a new perspective on the concept of time itself. To truly understand how small our worries are and how precious this moment of rest is, we must visualize the cosmic calendar. Imagine compressing the entire history of the universe, all 13.8 billion years of it, into a single, standard calendar year. In this visualization, the Big Bang, the moment of creation, happens at the stroke of midnight on January 1st. For the first few months of this cosmic year, there is no Earth, no sun, only the swirling clouds of gas and the birth of the first ancient stars. Our own solar system does not even begin to form until early September. Think of that vast stretch of time, winter, spring, and summer passing by in the dark before our home even exists. Life on Earth begins as a simple, microscopic pulse in late September. But the creatures we know, the massive dinosaurs, do not stomp across the planet until Christmas week. And the entirety of human history, every king, every war, every invention, every song, and every dream you have ever had, it all happens in the very last 14 seconds of December 31st. In this grand scale, your life is a flash of light in the final millisecond of the year. This is not meant to make you feel small in a lonely way, but in a liberating way. It means that the stress of today is fleeting, a tiny blip in a majestic year-long story. You are part of the grand finale, the crescendo of the cosmos. Rest in the knowledge that you are the universe observing itself at the very peak of its complexity, a precious, momentary awareness floating in the deep river of time. Drifting away from the timeline, we move spatially toward one of the most stable and ancient structures in the galaxy, the globular clusters. While most stars, like our Sun, drift alone or in loose associations, there are places where stars pack themselves together in tight, glowing balls. Imagine a swarm of fireflies, but instead of a few dozen, there are a million of them, all buzzing around a central point. These clusters are the retirement communities of the universe. They contain some of the oldest stars in existence, ancient red and gold suns that have been burning since the galaxy was young. They are incredibly dense. If we lived on a planet inside a globular cluster, we would not have a night sky. The sky would be filled with thousands of stars brighter than the full moon, blazing with such intensity that it would always be twilight. There would be no true darkness, only a perpetual glittering glow. Visualize yourself floating toward the center of one of these clusters, like Omega Centauri. It looks like a jeweled brooch pinned against the velvet of space. Millions of points of light are held together by mutual gravity. A stable, spherical family that has stayed together for billions of years. It is a symbol of endurance and community. Let the image of this dense, glittering ball of light fill your mind. A concentrated dose of brilliance that reminds you that light loves company, and that stability is possible even in the wild swirling of the galaxy. As we bask in the glow of these ancient stars, we might wonder what the universe sounds like. We have spoken of the sun's deep hum and the silence of the vacuum, but our own planet, the Earth, sings a song to the cosmos every morning. This is not a sound that travels through air, but an electromagnetic song known as the dawn chorus. High in the atmosphere, in the Van Allen radiation belts, energetic particles from the sun get trapped in the Earth's magnetic field. As they spiral and bounce along the magnetic lines, they generate radio waves. If you were to convert these waves into sound, they would not sound like mechanical static. They sound exactly like a flock of birds chirping and whistling in a forest. It is an eerie and beautiful coincidence. The planet chirps. This chorus is most intense in the morning, on the side of the Earth facing the sun, as if the planet is waking up and greeting the light. Visualize the magnetic field lines arching out from the Earth like invisible harp strings, being plucked by the solar wind. The Earth is singing a lullaby of chirps and whistles to the empty dark. Listen to this imaginary sound, a celestial bird song that plays on a loop above the atmosphere, a joyous, natural melody that suggests the universe is not a dead machine, but a vibrant singing ecosystem. The song of the Earth is driven by the solar wind, but the light from the sun does more than just illuminate and sing, it touches. We tend to think of the light as intangible, something that reveals the world but has no substance. But in the vacuum of space, light reveals its true power, radiation pressure. Light has massless momentum. When a photon hits an object, it gives it a tiny, almost imperceptible push. It is like a gentle, constant wind. If you were floating in deep space and turned on a flashlight, the beam of light leaving the bulb would actually push you backward, acting like a tiny rocket engine. This force is incredibly subtle, but over time, it is powerful enough to push asteroids off course or propel spacecraft equipped with giant mirror-like sails. Imagine a ship with sails made of silver foil, miles wide, catching not the wind, but the light of the sun. It surfs on the brightness. Visualize yourself as a being made of light, feeling the gentle pressure of the sun's rays against your skin. It is not just heat, it is a physical caress, a microscopic massage. The universe is constantly touching you with light, a billion tiny fingers of energy gently pressing against you, holding you, nudging you forward. Feel this pressure as a weighted blanket made of pure sunshine, pressing you down into a deeper state of relaxation. This gentle push of light helps things move, but how does the galaxy itself move? We often picture the Milky Way's spiral arms as rigid structures, like the spokes of a wheel. But if that were true, the outer stars would lag behind, and the spiral would wind up tight and disappear. The truth is far more hypnotic. The spiral arms are density waves. Think of a traffic jam on a highway. The cars slow down, bunch up, and create a dense knot of traffic. Then, they speed up and move out of it. The jam stays in the same place, or moves slowly, even though the individual cars are driving through it. The spiral arms of our galaxy are cosmic traffic jams. Stars, gas, and dust move into the arm, slow down, bunch up, creating the bright, dense spiral, and then move out the other side. You're currently passing through one of these arms. Our sun is just a car passing through the slow lane. This means the structure of the galaxy is not fixed. It is a pattern of flow. It is a rhythm. Visualize the galaxy as a spinning pool of water with ripples moving through it. You are riding the ripple. It is a comforting thought that the structures in our lives are often just patterns of movement, temporary gatherings of energy that come and go while the flow continues. Let yourself drift through the traffic jam of the stars, knowing that the congestion is temporary and the open road lies ahead. Drifting from the galactic traffic back to the source of our local light, we witness a phenomenon on the sun that mimics the weather of Earth, but with a fiery twist. We are familiar with rain, water evaporating, forming clouds and falling back down. On the sun, there is coronal rain. In the sun's outer atmosphere, the corona, the plasma is superheated to millions of degrees. But sometimes, thanks to the magnetic fields, this plasma cools down rapidly. When it cools, it condenses, clumping together just like water droplets. But instead of water, it creates blobs of electrically charged gas that are still tens of thousands of degrees hot. These blobs then rain down onto the surface of the sun, but they do not fall straight down. They follow the invisible looping arches of the magnetic fields. Imagine giant waterfalls of fire cascading down from the sky in slow-motion loops, pouring along roller coaster tracks of magnetism. It is a fireworks display in reverse. The visuals are stunning. Glowing rain falling against the black void of space, splashing back into the churning ocean of the sun. It is a cycle of heat and release. Visualize this fiery rain washing away the debris of the solar atmosphere, a cleansing storm of light. Let the image of this slow looping descent guide your own energy, allowing your thoughts to cool, condense, and rain gently back down into the ocean of your subconscious. Moving out from the fire of the sun to the cool mystery of the deep sky, we encounter an object that challenges our sense of what a galaxy should look like. Most galaxies are spirals or blobs, but deep in the constellation Serpens lies Hogue's object. It is a ring galaxy, and it looks remarkably like a wheel floating in the dark. There is a central ball of yellow stars, perfectly round. Then there is a gap of pure darkness, and surrounding that gap is a perfect detached ring of blue stars. It looks like a cosmic eye, or a halo without a head. It is incredibly rare, a freak accident of gravity and collision that created a perfect circle. But here is the detail that makes it truly dreamlike. If you look through the gap, through the dark space between the yellow core and the blue ring, you can see another tinier ring galaxy far in the distance, perfectly framed. It is a ring within a ring, a mirror image echoing into infinity. This symmetry is deeply soothing. It speaks of order and balance in a chaotic universe. Visualize this perfect blue wheel turning slowly in the silence. It has no beginning and no end. It is a mandala of the heavens. Focus on the circular shape, letting your mind trace the blue rim round and round, a continuous unbroken loop of peace. Returning from the distant ring to our nearest neighbour, the moon, we discover that even the solid rock beneath our feet is not as uniform as we think. If you were orbiting the moon in a spacecraft, you would feel a strange sensation. As you passed over certain large craters and dark seas, your ship would suddenly dip, pulled down by an invisible hand. These are mascons, or mass concentrations. The moon's gravity is not smooth, it is lumpy. Beneath the surface of the great lunar seas, there are dense concentrations of rock, perhaps remnants of heavy metal asteroids that slammed into the moon eons ago and sank deep into the crust. These heavy spots create stronger gravity. It creates a gravity map that looks like a landscape of hills and valleys, but made of force, not rock. Imagine floating over the moon and feeling these gentle tugs, like a massage from the planet itself. You're heavier here, lighter there. It breaks the monotony of a constant pull. It suggests that even in emptiness there is texture. Even in the invisible forces there is variation. Feel the lumpiness of the gravity as a gentle rocking motion, pulling you down and then releasing you. A subtle, invisible wave lulling you to sleep. As we drift through these silent gravitational waves, we confront the biggest question of all, one that often causes anxiety but can be reframed into deep peace: the great silence. We look out at the billions of stars, the trillions of planets, and we listen. We point our radio telescopes at the sky, hoping for a signal, a hello from another civilization. And for 60 years, we've heard nothing, only the static of the stars. This is the Fermi paradox. But instead of finding it lonely, consider it as a form of sanctuary. Imagine walking into a massive ancient library. It is filled with books, filled with knowledge, but it is utterly quiet. The silence is not empty. It is respectful. It is a great quiet. It means that for now, in this corner of the galaxy, we are left alone to dream, to grow, and to sleep without interruption. We are not being bothered by the noise of a billion other worlds. We have the house to ourselves. The universe is a quiet room, and we are the only ones making a sound. There is a luxury in this isolation. We do not need to perform for anyone. We do not need to answer the phone. We can simply be. Let the great silence wrap around you like a heavy velvet curtain, blocking out the noise, ensuring that your rest will be undisturbed by the neighbours of the cosmos. Finally, we let our minds expand to the very shape of the room we are sleeping in, the shape of the universe itself. For a long time, scientists wondered if the universe curved back on itself like a sphere, or if it was shaped like a saddle. But the most precise measurements from the cosmic microwave background tell us something profound. The universe is flat. This does not mean it is two-dimensional like a piece of paper. It means that the geometry of space is perfectly straight. Parallel lines will never meet. If you shine two laser beams into the dark, they will stay parallel forever, travelling on and on into infinity without ever crossing or diverging. This implies that the universe is not a closed box. It is an open, infinite plane. It extends forever in every direction. There are no edges, no boundaries, no walls to hit. It is a landscape of absolute, terrifying, beautiful openness. Visualize this infinite extension. The bed you're lying on is a platform floating in a space that has no end. You can extend your energy outward, past the moon, past the stars, past the galaxies, and you will never hit a barrier. You have infinite room to stretch. Feel the walls of your room dissolving, the ceiling opening up, and your spirit expanding to fill the flat, endless, open plane of the eternal universe. Floating on the infinite flat plane of existence, where parallel lines of light travel forever into the dark, we arrive at the final destination of our journey. We have drifted past diamond rain, through silent voids, around swirling black holes, and into the heart of glowing nebulas. But amidst all these colossal wonders, we have saved the most profound, the most miraculous fact for the very end. It is a secret that changes everything. It is the realization that you're not merely a passenger on this journey, you are the destination. Consider the atoms that make up the lens of your eye, the neurons in your brain, and the skin on your hands. We know they were forged in the hearts of dying stars billions of years ago. But think about what that means. For eons, the universe was a swirling storm of hydrogen and helium, unconscious and blind. It took billions of years of cooling, gravity, fusion and time to weave those elements into a complex form that could open its eyes, look up and wonder. That form is you. You are the mechanism by which the universe has achieved consciousness. When you look at the stars, it is not a human looking at an alien sky. It is the universe looking back at itself. You are the cosmos waking up. You're the galaxy becoming aware of its own beauty. The silence of the void is your silence. The energy of the stars is your energy. You're not a small, insignificant speck in the dark. You're the entire history of time and space, condensed into a single point of awareness, resting in a bed, breathing slowly. This is the ultimate truth. You're not in the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself as a human for a little while. And right now, the universe is tired. The universe needs to sleep. And so, the circle is complete. We gently release the thought of the vast expanding cosmos. We let the galaxies continue their slow, majestic spins in the dark without us. We let the stars burn in their silent vigils, guarding the deep reaches of the night. We let the planets dance their eternal waltzes, drifting through the vacuum in perfect mathematical harmony. You no longer need to watch them. They are safe. They will be there when you wake. It is time to draw your awareness back, closer and closer, descending from the heights of the infinite, back through the quiet curtains of the aurora, back through the soft clouds of the atmosphere, back to the safe, warm gravity of the room where you rest. Feel the universe settling within you. The spinning of the earth is now just the gentle rocking of a cradle. The heat of the sun is now just the warmth of your blanket. The vast emptiness of the void is now the quiet space behind your closed eyes. Everything has slowed down. The atoms in your body, those ancient travellers, are vibrating with a soft, slow rhythm. There is nothing left to learn tonight. There is nothing left to see. The book of the stars is closing, its pages turning soft and black, the story fading into a comforting whisper. Your breathing is deep, slow, and rhythmic, like the tides of the ocean, like the pulsing of a distant star. You're heavy with relaxation, sinking deeper into the mattress, sinking deeper into the fabric of space-time. The journey is over. The stillness is here. You're safe, you're held, and you're infinite. Let the darkness wrap you in its velvet arms. Let the silence fill you with peace. You're drifting away now, floating on a river of dreams that flows gently into the eternal night. And now, 101 wonders are resting with you. Sleep now. Good night.